What up? What up? What up? What up? What's going on out there, America? Yes, we are back again. It's Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. Listen, we got the final NFL week coming up on Sunday, but we got to talk about these crazy games this past New Year's Eve weekend, man. It has been off the chain. So much NFL stuff to talk about. It's your boy Rod. It's your boy Don. It's your boy Scoop Lover, my brother Scrap Lover, the other in the building. Listen, man, y'all be prayerful through this show, man. My boy gonna need a lot of love down there. But as y'all know, Scrap is always ready for the smoke. Win or lose or draw, he's in the building. That's why we love him. That's why he's part of the fire show that's all hitting America right now. It's Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. Listen, do us a favor. We need you to like, comment, share, YouTube, Facebook. We appreciate the love. Thank y'all for jumping on. We want to greet everybody, you know what I'm saying? And thank you for supporting the channel, supporting the show. We in year 2. It's been amazing. So don't forget to like and subscribe for real. And hit that little notification button on YouTube. So every time Don puts up his reels and talks about CMC and Debo being the #1 receiver, you'll get that content just the same. Whether you believe it or not is one thing, but you'll still get it nevertheless. But listen, it's still Don's world. He's the #1 seed. He's got plenty. He's got about 4 bye weeks coming up. We might not see his team play till like another 3 weeks because that's how much time off now they got. But it's all good nevertheless. Don, Scrap, what's good with you fellas? How y'all doing out there, bros?
Oh man, doing good. #1 seed. We get to rest up and push for the playoffs. Ultimately, what I said still stands. We are just worried about February. We are just worried about Las Vegas, February, confetti dropping on us. And I don't appreciate that East Coast, West Coast ending the beef when I wasn't on the show. West Philly and
Southwest.
East Georgia. Southwest.
Yeah,
Southwest. There's West in there. Yeah. But it is what it is, man. Listen.
Well, we were just trying to hold it down, D.
And I want to say this. You guys did a fantastic job.
We appreciate that, man.
I got a bye week. Actually, I got a bye week. I was already preparing my team. We're #1 seed. I'm #1 seed host. I just said, let me take my bye week early.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
Well deserved. You needed that. No question.
Well, I'm just
wild
here.
Cards in the building.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's what I'm on. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Yeah.
But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, week 17 is in the books. Now, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day weekend started with one of the greatest heist of a game I've ever seen. But he can barely drink his water. I will say this.
Disgusting.
It was, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that game. The Cowboys and the Lions. Now, I've already said what I thought about the Lions and how I think they're going to fare in the playoffs. They're not to be trusted. And it's one of those things that this is
Happy
the
New
problem.
Year, James.
James is in the building. UK.
James in the building. That's what's up.
This is what I couldn't believe. The fact is that Dan Campbell, if you're losing a game, right, and your points and how you're trying to finagle it doesn't seem like you're scoring and moving at will, and it's a tightly contested game. You go for the two, and there's trickery, and we've discussed this before. When a team can't manufacture like offense, sometimes you got to do trick plays, like the Jets and other teams. But obviously, the Lions don't fall in that category. They actually can put up points. The fact is, in a tight game like this, and I know we had Jimmy Johnson going into the circle and the circle of trust and all this other stuff was happening. In my eyes, there was no way that the Cowboys were going to lose that game. And so I thought that the people that orchestrate the games and script the games would have did a better job, in my opinion. It was completely, utterly scripted. I was disappointed at the outcome. Dan Campbell, You went for a 2-point to win, and everyone likes your aggression. Everyone likes the fact that you're biting kneecaps. But in that instance, after the penalty, and you're back on the 7-yard line, and then you go for it again, and it's intercepted, but there's a penalty, and now you're back on the 4. What team is gonna, like, I just don't get it. College teams, high school teams would not do and call those plays in a critical game. Just kick the extra point, go into overtime. It wasn't like Dallas was, I mean, CeeDee Lamb had a game of ages, of the ages. But it wasn't like you couldn't have had your opportunity. Your defense was playing pretty decent. It wasn't something that you had to force feed a 2-point conversion to win the game. It just made no sense. But it made sense because you can tell Dan Campbell was upset and all that, but the check clearly cleared. It didn't make like it just, because when you think about it, this is what I want you to, I want everyone to think about. When you look at a game, and these are high paid NFL coaches and staff, when they make calls that you can't wrap your mind around as being, whether you feel you're the most knowledgeable about football, you're a novice, you're a casual fan, and it doesn't make sense to you, it's for a reason. And so I know Rod is feeling good that you guys will, and he predicted that they really had a shot at the number 1 seed. But once again, I need to tell him, thank the 49ers for that. Because 10-1 Eagles was rolling until when? And we knocked the stability out of them. And once we did that, they have not been straight since. So Cowboy fans, thank the Niners for, shuffling and reshuffling the deck to give you an opportunity to ultimately, it's yours to win or lose, right? You control your destiny. Prior to us, and I'm going to pass the floor to him, but you can't feel good about this win. Like, realistically speaking, you can't feel good about it. The only thing you can take solace in is that you're going to host a game. And so your chances of getting at least one victory, it exponentially grows, because being on the road, the Eagles, if they're on the road, they'll probably win because they're just a good team. They'll probably be able to win in a wild card weekend, but certainly you don't want to be the 5 seed. There is a big difference between being the number 2 seed and the number 5 seed. What do you say, Rod?
No, I agree with you, D. This was a bad win for the Dallas Cowboys, if that even makes sense. Out of the 43 years I've been a Cowboys fan, this was the worst win that we possibly could have. And here's why. I'll try to make this quick. So you've got Mike McCarthy. And Don, you've been ragging him for the past 2 years, looking up, and Joey's looking up at the scoreboard, and just, looks like, again, I always say he's like a rock with no soul. He's just there. He just exists, right? I don't know if he's breathing. I don't know what's going on with him, right? I don't know if there's any life in this guy or whatever have you. But what he did in this game and what he did in the Seattle game, when it comes to play calling at crucial moments and clock management, which is what he's been known to be really bad at or questionable at the minimum, that's the thing you don't like going into the playoffs if you're a Cowboy fan. Even for next week, okay? I know we control our own destiny, but I'm very nervous about this game. We went and played Washington last game of the season and got beat down. Dak looked very bad in that game, and not to mention we're on the road, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. For this year, where we haven't really played well, at least with just 2 bipolar type performances, if you will, that we're seeing with the Cowboys from home and away. So I'm not completely sold that we got this in the bag. I really not. Now, we play Washington at home, then maybe. But on the road, it's going to be cold, inclement weather. I don't know what the conditions are going to be. But nevertheless, that's on there. We'll talk more about preview later. Now, the thing is with this game, when you had an opportunity to keep the Lions with at least 40 seconds of deficit when they get the ball back, which they shouldn't have never even really been able to get the ball back, right? After I thought Dallas D skilled top, and they averaged nearly 30 points a game, and we held them to 19. I thought that was very commendable. Like last week against Miami, Dallas defense, again, played very well against the run. And we had 6 tackles for a loss in the game against the Lions. And I thought Dallas really made some nice adjustments, and I think the guys had more of a will to stop the run after what we saw in Buffalo. So they did it in Miami. They did it against Detroit. So the defense played well. After Donald gets that pick, after jumping that route, there's no way your defense should ever have to get back onto the field again, okay? But when you throw the ball on second down, when you could eat another 40 seconds of clock and make them burn their last time out, like, I don't understand that. Like, you're already in field goal range. So, and then if you're going to throw the ball, why would you throw it down the sideline? Like, if anything, go short in the middle of the field. Go through, throw something in the flat, or just a small little short crosser, or maybe a stick route. Just something that can still make them burn a timeout if you don't want to run the ball, but you still want to get some positive yards. But why are you trying to hit the home run? McCarthy is like, well, we wanted to just, put the nail in the coffin. It's like he wants to prove to people he's something that he's not. You're not that kind of coach. That's not your MO. That's not your persona. That's not your personality. Play conservative. Like, I think the coaches, and I've been saying it all year long, fellas. I've been consistent in this stance. I think coaches, again, are out coaching themselves. They're trying to be smarter than what they are. The difference between being clever and strategic and then just using common sense. Common sense is what you always use when you're trying to kill the clock. So for Dallas to be in that situation whereby we would have almost lost that game, that game would have definitely been on McCarthy had we lost that game. You give an NFL quarterback, I don't care who they are, but golf in this sense, with a high-powered offense like that, 1 minute and 41 seconds to drive 75 yards with no timeouts. It don't matter with timeouts, because that's 4 days. That's a lot of time for a well-machined offense that knows how to move the ball. So anyway, nevertheless, they score. Bam, bam, bam. Dallas is playing in this stupid soft coverage, which I don't understand why we were playing so soft going down the field. Nevertheless, they score. Now, D, let's get to this, and I'm going to make this quick on this, okay? When you talk about, I'll just speak to Dan Campbell's decision-making for not going on 2, then I'll talk about what actually happened with the illegal touching and then the illegal formation, both flags that were thrown. Dan Campbell, I guess I'm looking at it like this, right? Now, I think Detroit, if they would have got the ball, I think they would have scored in overtime. I agree with you there. I think if they would have decided to kick the extra point, go into overtime, and take their chances there, I thought they had the momentum, because Dallas clearly, the defense, as I said, should have never been on that field. That drive was excruciatingly horrible and cringy for Cowboy fans to watch how fast they drove down the field, which only goes to show you that they could have actually almost kind of done that all game. They tried their best to stick to the run, unlike what Miami was doing. They was trying their best to stick to the run, but Dallas did actually take their run game out. But if they would have said, okay, bump the run, it's their night tonight, they stopping the run, we're going to throw the ball, they could have scored, D, in overtime. I believe they would have. They would have scored, Scrap. That's my opinion. They had the momentum on their side. But I think Dan Campbell's looking like this. Okay, they got a home game anyway, right? Because they won the division. So they're going to get a home game, right? So they've got a home game either way. I don't know if there was much for them to lose by trying to win the game with the 2 points.
Of course, number 1 seed was still there.
Well, the number 1 seed was still there. No, you're right. I think the number 1 seed, well, which is big, right? Which was big. But maybe in his mind, he's like, look, the Niners are not going to lose. They're not losing to Washington. So he probably just was like, you know what? It is what it is. Let's just go out here. And listen, he's one of those type of coaches, and he's done this several times. He's been consistent in taking these aggressive play calls. Now, again, I agree if you're going for the number 1 seed, but then again, right? Okay, let's just see and help me with this. Help me think this through for a minute.
Let me just say
if they would have won that game, right? And answer my question here, D, on this, because maybe I'm missing a dynamic on this. If they would have won that game and beat Dallas, right, then
they would have been number 2 seed.
Right. They would have been
They still had an opportunity to win the number 1 seed, and at the least, they would have supplanted you guys.
But how?
And been the number 2 seed.
Right. They would have been the number 2 seed. Right. But if you really think about it,
or a better record, they would have had a better record than you.
Absolutely, they could have been a number 2 seed.
So yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
They definitely had something to play for. They had something to play for.
I agree. No, I totally agree. No, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying. But what I'm saying is maybe in Dan's mind, right? He's thinking,
family show.
okay,
Sorry.
who you playing?
I can't just randomly put up James's quotes right now.
James going in.
Take a little bit,
Yeah,
take a little bit of the mustard off, James. Not so much mustard.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
And I'll say
But
this.
Okay, go
In
ahead.
one
I'll finish
instance,
that
you're
last one back.
saying that I understand it, him being aggressive, and then in the same sentence, you're saying, but he's packing it in because they already won the division. No. That doesn't make sense. You can't make sense out of that going for it, a 2-point conversion to win the game.
3 times.
What did they win? 3 times. You
Three
can't make
times.
sense of that.
Not 3 times. No, not 3 times. Especially the last play and the last play call. I don't know what the play call in the flat right there didn't make sense to me. But what I'm saying is, and again, and I'm glad Dan did what he did. But here's my thing. I'm only saying in this sense that I felt that if you're number 2 seed, number 3 seed, right? So that means you most likely gonna end up playing, right? You either gonna play Minnesota, Green Bay, right? The Rams already clinched the spot. So it's either or either Seattle, right? It's one of those two. It's one of those 3 teams that you're going, or even the Rams, right? You could play any one of those 4 teams that's going to end up getting those last 2 seeds. So you're going to play them at home either way. Now the route would change, of course, because as the number 2, you could probably guarantee another home game. But I felt like maybe in my mind, and you're right, the number 2 seed does beat the number 3 seed. But in their mind, I guess they just figuring like, yo, Dan is who he is. He's going to be aggressive with this call. It wasn't smart. Not 3 times. You should have known maybe after the 2nd time. Hey, okay, you know what? Let's or the first penalty. Let's go ahead and kick the field goal. But let me say this though. Here's the thing. Now, here's what I didn't know, Don. You bring up a good point when you talked about whether you're a novice, whether you're a casual fan, a knowledgeable fan, whatever you are, right? One of the things unbeknownst to me, right? I didn't know that there was conversation ever in the beginning of the games where the coach would tell the referees, the officiating crew, or the lead officiant that this is what we're going to run. We have a trick play. We get into this situation. This is what we're going to run. And this is who's going to be designated as an eligible receiver. Now, what the Lions did, and here's where it backfired on them. I'm not saying the refs didn't screw this up, but here's the thing. You try to do a level of trickery that actually just brought more confusion to everybody, and most importantly, to the officiating crew. Because the truth is that Dan Campbell said this, and he said it his presser. 70 came in, and he was the one who acknowledged himself as a legal eligible receiver. Okay. The thing is that whether it was 68 or 70, right? You end up trying to keep it on the low surreptitiously from the Cowboys. The truth is the defense got to know anyway. And it was announced on the screen. So here's the thing, not the screen, on the loudspeaker. And there's footage all over Twitter. They played on 105.
All Cowboys didacted and
it's out there.
Doctored up. Yeah, exactly.
No, it wasn't doctored. No. Because you've been to these games live. They announce the player that's eligible over the loudspeaker. Now,
I think they said, I did hear it. I did watch some stuff, and I think they said the check cleared. I think
no.
I came over the last.
We're good, guys. We're good.
I'm gonna make this quick. I know we got a lot to cover. I ain't gonna mess with you, D. The truth is, when that announcement was heard, it is on the Lions to make sure that there is clarity. Because if the fact is that if 70 came in and checked in as a legal or eligible receiver, and he was not the one, because they tried to bring you got what's his name over there as well.
68 was the one who did it.
Right, but you had 68 by the referee, you had Sewell by the referee, you had 70 coming off the sideline, coming up to the referee. Now he's been coming in all game long, according to the poll report, from the officials, that he was coming in and announcing himself eligible throughout the game in certain spots. So the thing is that
except for that one.
But if you heard the loudspeaker say 70 and you wasn't sure that the ref acknowledged 68 when he stood there, because the ref, as soon as he saw 70, he points at 70, and then he goes over to the Dallas defense to tell them who's now going to be eligible. That's on the Lions. Like, you got to make a concerted effort to make sure, are we clear? Refs, do you know who's eligible? Let's make sure, because once you announce it, it's a wrap. But then what happens is if the referee says, well, no, you said 70, I got 70, and you can't change it, then what do? You got to change your play call now. You got to go to something different if that's what you're going to do. But that's not on the ref. That's on the Lions to make sure, because they tried the trickery putting up 3 linemen by the referee trying to confuse him. And he did obviously get confused. If what Dan Campbell said is true, we don't have no transcripts. We don't know what he said to the referees before the game. We don't know what he said.
He don't got nothing. He don't got nothing in the Lions' favor.
This is like an Epstein document.
He got nothing in the Lions' favor. All pro cowboy propaganda he has.
I don't know. I'm just saying. It's the ref. Listen, it's up to the Lions to make sure that the refs got the right guy. Because if you're gonna put 3 linemen in front of the ref, make sure that the ref knows again who is going to be eligible. There was 2 flags thrown in the process, so either way, they was going to get penalized either way.
Yeah, they made sure they wasn't going to get it either way. Is what you're saying?
Well, no, because they got 2 flags, but those are legit. Okay, strip everything away. Was those not still good calls? The calls were, if 68 didn't report, he can't touch the ball. If 70 reported as eligible, you can't line up as a guard, not even a tackle. You line up in the guard position back as an ineligible receiver. You can't do that. So that's illegal formation. So either way, it was a good call by the ref to do that. The confusion came in is, who did the refs acknowledge? And the refs, according to the pool report, said that 70 came in and checked himself in as an eligible receiver, and that's who they doctored, and that's who they told Dallas was the eligible receiver. Because you got to tell the team, you got to tell the defense who the eligible receiver is so that they can cover him. That's just part of the rules. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know. But how do we know that? He told the refs before the game and a few times during the game. Nah, we don't know that. So how come then?
You just said it.
You just said they did, right?
You said it.
No, what I'm saying is I know they did, but how do we know what was exactly said? How do we know he didn't say 70 was going to be the one to we don't know who he said was going to be eligible. He told them about the play, but do we know who he said was going to be eligible? Dan Campbell.
I thought the player had to come in and tell the ref he was eligible. He was reporting
right. You got to do that. But Campbell said in his presser, I told them and expressed in detail what we were going to run and what we were going to do. So he had to tell them who was going to come in as eligible. Now, they still got to report as being eligible, but he made it known to them in advance who was going to be the guy that was going to come in and be an eligible receiver.
So you saying you dropped the bottle at 12:30?
It was, James. It was illegal. It was illegal formation because you can't come in as an eligible. If 70 came in and reported as an eligible receiver, then you can't be covered on the line. He was covered on the line. He was covered by the tackle and he was covered by the receiver. So he's in illegal formation. That's football 101.
Hey,
no, he was legal formation.
This is a Bill Duke Administer Society moment. So you dropped the bottle at 12:30.
Right.
You just said you dropped it at 12:45.
Right. You just said, and so for the people that don't think that the NFL, all sports, there is it's rigged to a degree. It's rigged. Dan Campbell saying 4 or 5 hours ahead of a play that he was going to use,
which he said, right?
Now you want to acknowledge it again? Okay,
he said that. I just want to make it plain that this is what he said. He did.
He says that he's going to do said play. How do we know it even comes up? You think that unless the situation was going to call for it to happen that way,
he told them the situation.
Right.
He did. He told them when we were going. He said, if we're in this situation, this is what we're going to run. This is our trick play that we're going to run. He told them in detail what he was going to run, when he was going to run it, if they were in such a situation, which clearly that was the situation.
It wasn't two people. Honestly, I heard what.
No, it was illegal. It was 2 flags that was thrown. So there was one for illegal touching, right, which was 68, and then you had illegal formation on 70 because 70 was the one who the referees acknowledged as a eligible receiver. You can't be an eligible receiver and line up on the formation uncovered. You see what I'm saying? Covered rather. You can't do that. Now he went back to his guard. He wasn't even as a tackle. He was a guard. He's sitting between the center and the tackle. So that's illegal formation. That's why they called the flag on him.
So 68 wasn't on the end because I thought he was on the end.
68 was on the end, but 70 was the one who was acknowledged as the eligible receiver. 68 got
acknowledged.
Even though he wasn't the one that reported, because 68 clearly on the replay that I saw, 68 said something to the ref, and the ref was just like didn't acknowledge him at all.
because he saw 70 coming in, and then they announced it on the loudspeaker. 70 is the eligible receiver. So that's when the Lions should have made sure.
So the ref looked at his script and saw that there was a difference in what should have happened. No, you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you're supposed to be that guy.
That's not the ref's job. That's not the ref's to say, oh, no, wait, no, your coach
The ref's job is to listen to who reports eligible. That's his
exactly.
job.
And the ref is saying that 70 reported as eligible because the 70 runs up to the ref. Now, first of all, why are you running up to the ref, okay, if you're just going to play your regular formation as a guard? You did that because you tried to create trickery for the Cowboys. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to confuse Dallas. But the stupidness in that is, how are you confusing the Cowboys if there's going to be announced over the speaker? They were hoping that nobody would hear it over the loudspeaker. And the referee is going to tell the defense anyway.
No. This is going too far
left. What do you mean?
You about to tell us the moon is made out of cheese. Right. You about to say the moon is made out of cheese now.
So,
what part of the argument are you attacking? What did I say that is not part of the rules? I just said the rules.
You're not what you're saying that's not part of the rules. You thinking that they're trying to pull a fast one and whisper it when we know that they have to tell the defense who's eligible.
Right.
You're trying to make it seem like it's a grand conspiracy to beat the Cowboys.
But Campbell said that though.
I'm gonna pass him a note and let him read it and then put it in his pocket and just start the play.
That's
the teams do that though. Even Troy Aikman said it after the game. Troy Aikman said a lot of times they try to be stealth about it because they don't want to tip their hand. So that's part of what teams do when they run those kind of plays. They try to tip. They don't want to tip their hand. But at the end of the
day,
Troy
Aikman said it is gospel.
Troy Aikman said no, but Troy was just giving context to what happens.
Exactly. I see.
Wasn't he down for the celebration? Wasn't he?
Yes, he was
hugging Jimmy Johnson's
neck?
Yes,
he was.
No, he actually felt that the referees messed it up. That's what he said. He felt that's what they did.
Yeah, he said the refs made it too obvious.
I feel like I think it was on the referees that messed it up, but it's up to the Lions. They should have fixed that. It was your responsibility to make sure that the right guy checked in. And if you heard that the speaker said 70 and the referee is telling the defense 70, okay, and you didn't clarify that, that's on you.
Okay, so
why the ref messed up? Why didn't you fix it?
Why did the refs get demoted? If everything you said
no, that's throughout their play because they botched up another game with Green Bay and
another game. I like that.
Chicago. It was a Chicago game.
Not that one.
They missed a lot of that game too. That game too. Listen, any controversy is gonna mess up the grading of an officiating crew. At the end of the day, doesn't matter.
All penalties aside, I feel like Campbell botched that game when he went in Madden mode. He clearly went into Madden mode. After the first one, okay, I said if they score, they should go for 2. After the first one didn't go, should have just kicked the extra point. And then he went for it again and got a gift because Micah clearly jumped. Okay, they got another chance to do it, and he went for it again. Like, you can listen. At some point, I just looked at the TV. I was like, they really gonna do this in front of us like this? Like, it was disgusting what he did. It was disgusting. But the Lions had every chance to win that game. Every chance to win it. So what we're doing right now is like dissecting the goofy part of it. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts, Campbell should have after the first conversion got called back, should have just kicked the extra point and tried his luck in overtime. Like, but all these events that's unraveling, and now we're talking about what he told the ref before the game, and the ref acknowledged one person and the other person on video clearly saying something to the ref. So what did he say to the ref on the video? Did he say, hey, nice shirt, ref, all your stripes are straight? And the ref said, yeah, I know. And just say, yeah, all right, we're going to say 70.
Okay, that's a good point, but we don't know what 70 said either. 70 is the one he came up and ran up and talked to the referee too. So he said there was guy and Sewell standing there. What's Sewell standing there for? See, again, it was all about trying to create.
Everyone should clear the field except the 2 people that talking to the ref.
Right. Essentially, because you want to make it clear to the ref who's reporting. So if you got 3 guys and they all talking and you do the ref, what are you trying to do in deceiving the Cowboys?
The ref's attention span is not that long. He can't look at too many people with the same color shirt on.
Apparently not. I mean, Brad Allen, look, I mean, the question is, right, do we have any sound? We need to get some sound on that game. That's what we probably need to do to find out. But there's no way to get sound on the game, right? I mean, I don't know.
Jimmy Johnson said, how about them Cowboys? I already knew you guys weren't going to lose. But after he said, "How about those Cowboys?" You had no chance of losing that game. The refs, Jerry Jones.
I said they wasn't going to lose in the preview. The preview
I knew they wasn't going to lose. I knew they wasn't going to lose. I was thinking more of the fact of Jared Goff and that being the reason, but it came down to a play. And I mean, I guess for Rod to, and as much as he says he's not a fanatical Cowboys fan, we spent the better part of 30 minutes defending undefendable plays, right? You really can't defend these plays. You can't defend the logic in Dan Campbell. You can't. Now we're starting to nitpick and split hairs. I took an attempt. Split hairs about who said what to the ref and why is Sewell have his jersey on? His jersey he should have a red jersey if he's standing next to the ref. Like it's too much, Rod. And I get it.
But I'm only speaking what happens typically on plays.
Let me ask you one simple question.
Mm-hmm.
In your estimation, watching the football game and the outcome and everything that was on the line, was that game rigged? Yes or no?
No. Okay. No.
It didn't feel rigged?
No. It didn't feel rigged. It didn't feel.
I'll be honest with you. For me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. Other than the 1919 White Sox, which is a really good book, by the way, if you're ever interested in it, it's a good book. I don't really look at sports like that. Not to the degree Don looks at it.
19.
Don's, the White Sox. They threw the World Series. They were clearly the best team, and they all got their star players got paid.
That's when they used to pitch like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Not reading about nobody that pitched like that, man.
No, but that was a good story though. That's actually a good read though. It's a good read. But I mean, I don't think it was game. I don't look at the game from that. I mean, maybe I'm naive in that sense, but just in general,
because y'all won. If y'all would have lost,
at sports. I don't look at sports
lost.
Like if y'all would have lost everything.
Oh my goodness! Listen, if y'all would have lost like that, your whole argument would have been different. You would have said, but Teron Smith, I saw him. I heard him report eligible.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have felt the game was rigged, though. But I wouldn't have felt I would have said that the referees just messed up. Yeah, I think you would have just messed up. I think the referees botched up perhaps who checked in as an eligible receiver. And you could see
what I noticed though? What I noticed during your recap, that's your sentiment sounded very familiar. About when you had a chance to put them away, all you had to do was run the ball and let the clock run, but you throwing long passes. Your frustration, that sounded real familiar. I think I was voicing that type of frustration our first game.
Wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry, because I was reading the comment that D put up there real quick.
I said the way you was voicing your frustration about one of y'all last drives when y'all could have just ran the ball and just ate the clock up, but instead y'all decided to throw a bomb. I said that sounds real familiar. That sounds like me trying to explain our game, our first time we played y'all.
It does. And what did I say? I said all year long that coaches, including Philly's coach as well, and it happens in San Fran, it happens in Dallas, and a lot of these other coaches, Mike McDaniels in Miami, they tend to get cute and do things out of just the audacity to do it. Dan Campbell is just this audacious take that they feel like they got to show themselves up or
right. No, but when I said that, he was like, "Oh no, it's just our defense was just that stealth."
No, I said that. No, I promise you, when y'all try to throw that pass to AJ Brown, and because D texted, D said, "Yo, y'all gonna win now. Y'all gonna win." This before we started our chat. D said, "Oh, y'all gonna win now." You know what I'm saying? Because that play was inexplicable. You can't even give any merit to that play call. That play call didn't make no sense. But I didn't think that. I just chalked it up to what's his name, Johnson, your OC, just trying to be cute, and Sirianni signed off on it, which didn't make sense to me. But that was just I didn't think it was like a conspiracy though. Now Don, on the other hand, just know. Let me ask you a question, Don. Do you feel like when the Niners lost to the Rams and the Niners lost to Kansas City and they lost to Baltimore some years back in 2012, did you feel all that was conspiracy, or is that just a fair loss?
No. Listen, let me tell you what I want, and we'll get to the Niners later on. Okay. I want the Ravens to look unstoppable, because it will bode well for the Niners. Do you understand the impact of the sports books when a team is everyone's favorite? I love if we had to lose against the Ravens, let it be in week 16. I'm okay with that because I want them to be overwhelming favorites when we see them in Vegas. Because I want the sports books not to be greatly impacted by the Niners' loss. Last year, the Niners were going into the NFC Championship game. Was sports books were saying that they were going to really, really be hurt if the Niners win. They were going to cripple sports books. So Ravens, I want Lamar Jackson have a Kevlar vest on in the press conference. I want him to do all.
Come out in the bubble. Let him come out in the bubble.
I want all of them to. I want them to dominate their next games because what that does is going into the Super Bowl. I want it to be, and even with the Niners next week, CMC, they're gonna put him on ice for a few weeks, let him rest, get healed. I expect everybody pretty much to be on ice. All our core players.
No question.
Because, we have nothing to play for. And
but let me ask you this, though, with this conspiracy theory, though. But see, my thing is this, D. The reason why I don't subscribe to it, because if that's the case, then I can't watch the games. I wouldn't be a sports fan.
Vegas thanks you for that.
Huh? Vegas thanks you for me. I guess I'm a sucker MC for it. I know, because I just love the sport. I just tend to be naive to that fact. But if it's hard to establish that fandom of a sport, and especially if you cheer for a team, and then that in the back of your mind there's a chance for a conspiracy to unfold. Then how do you know what I'm saying? How can you be? It's hard to love sports if that's the case. Then it's not. No, and it's not real.
Listen, no, it's not. You still like your team, but let me tell you this. And somebody brought it up in the comments.
Okay.
Once the NFL, MLB, NBA partnered with sports books and legalized sports gambling, that confirmed that they are in bed with each other.
Yeah, they ain't cahoots.
Whether you want to accept it or not, do you think that the NBA and MLB and NFL are making those partnerships if they have nothing to gain?
Right.
No, I feel you on that. I understand the motive behind it.
One day, Rod,
it's a bad motive, unfortunately. I understand, but I do.
It's all about money, Rod. It's all about money.
But then it's like, why watch the sports, right? So then that means, we can go back to Jordan's titles. We can go back to the Niners in the 80s, Cowboys in the 90s, the one ring the Eagles got, we could say, that was a little jab. But you could say
nice. That was not nice.
Wasn't necessary. Punching down.
Is it a conspiracy?
Exactly.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know. It's hard to. I wouldn't. So let me put it to you this way, fellas. I would not walk away feeling proud and feeling like my team won if I felt that my team's winning was rigged. If the Super Bowl was rigged, if the NBA championship is rigged.
Wait a minute. So if y'all won the Super Bowl and it was clearly rigged, you wouldn't celebrate?
I would feel the way I feel about I would feel that it was a bad win, like the Detroit game was, but not from what happened with the refs. But if I knew blatantly that there was something where it definitely looked unexplainable, as Donald was saying earlier, then no, I wouldn't. I'd be like, they gave us that. They wanted Dallas to win. They just wanted Dallas to win.
So you wouldn't say thank you for that and then celebrate?
This is exactly what Rod would be like.
Nah.
Okay. All right. That's exactly what he would be doing. Our next show, if Dallas was to win the Super Bowl, right? All of that conspiracy, I don't want it. This is a cheap trophy.
It's got to be blatant, though. It's got to be blatant. It can't be speculation.
Sunday wasn't blatant.
I was about to say, it can't get more blatant than that.
No, I don't think this is blatant.
Only way it could be more blatant, right? As if whoever they playing in the Super Bowl quarterback is running in the end zone and the referee dives in front of him and puts his leg up and he trips him in the end zone.
But
I tell you what, though, Scrap.
That didn't affect the game. I mean, cool. We lost the game.
We gotta bet. Listen. But I tell you what, though, in 2014. I will admit, and Dallas definitely was going to lose that playoff game in Detroit when we had Romo. They picked up the flag on Anthony Hitchens. It was a holding call. Clearly, he held him. They called it, and then they picked the flag up, and so that was it. And then we went on and lost.
So 10 years later, you still doubting what you see with your own eyes?
No, I'm just saying. But if Dallas, but I always said in that scenario, I said, yo, that was fugazi right there. Dallas should have lost that game. So I didn't feel good about that win, honestly. And then we ended up losing the next round anyway, so it didn't matter. But it didn't matter.
It didn't matter, right? But if you won a Super Bowl from the picking up of a flag,
and I would have probably been like, yo, we won, but it would have, because here's the thing, y'all would have all brought that up. And I say y'all, meaning every hater in Cowboy Nation, a Cowboy universe would have came at, and that's what everybody would have talked about. So it would have stained it. And I can't argue that. I can't defend that.
Stains come off if you wipe them. If you wipe a stain off, the trophy stain, it'll come right off. You wipe it right off.
exactly.
Y'all will win. See, y'all don't care. Y'all want a championship no matter what happens. If y'all get a ring one or not, it don't matter. As long as you get a chip.
Well,
I feel you. All right.
Speaking
for the Cowboys.
Speaking of
jumping off a bridge.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Ravens and the Dolphins. Now, as I mentioned, I like the Ravens looking unstoppable, rolling, number 1 seed, rolling into the Super Bowl. Because when they face us in the Super Bowl, because of how they shellacked us in week 16, they're going to be the favorites. And I hope moving forward, everyone jumps on them, because wherever, and I'm sure that there have been people making bets prior to, week 17, 16 or whatever. But of course, between the wild card weekend leading up to the Super Bowl, and once it's decided who's going to be in the Super Bowl, that's where a lot of money is going to flow in to try to pick the who they think the Super Bowl champ is going to be. With that being said, I want the Ravens to look as good as they possibly can. I don't want the Niners going into the Super Bowl as the favorite, if I'm honest. I don't want them to be the favorite. I want us to be healthy, and I want us to get through even next week and just move forward. Now, Ravens and Dolphins. Ravens, oh my goodness. I'll say this, and I've said this already about the Dolphins. I don't believe in the Dolphins, and I didn't believe in them. Even when they beat the Cowboys, I'm like, listen, you kicked 5 field goals to beat the Cowboys. You really shouldn't be impressed by that. And the fact is that when the game is out of hand, and you have aspirations to go deep, that's why I question teams and what they really want to do. Do you really want to win? Do you really care about going deep in the playoffs? Because when you're losing by 30 points, why are your starters still in? Why is Tua still in? Other than stat padding. Like, it makes no sense.
Dumb. Again,
Chubb, why is Chubb in?
Chubb.
To get an extra sack, an incentive, $1 million on this. Like, why are you in?
He's out now, right?
Out.
Torn ACL. He's done for the season.
Yeah, he's done. Done for the season. Corey was, he wasn't. That
was smart
about the loss. He was just, he wanted to kill Mike McDaniels for that, man. And then after the commercial, come back after he gets called the field. Corey's like, now you see 11 new cats out on the sideline. 11 new cats on the field. Like, it didn't make sense. It was so dumb. A lot of players was.
You're already limping into the playoffs with Waddle being injured. Hopefully he'll be back. You got Tyreek, who's not 100%, although, Tyreek is Tyreek. You have Tua, who up until this point has been pretty good. Those tumbling classes have paid off, right? But why would you have him in the game against a team that is top 3 defense? Why? Because they're not, clearly, they're showing that they're not backing off. They're going full throttle the whole entire game. It just didn't make sense. And now Tua's shoulder is a little, he said he's sore, he'll be okay. But next week, you're playing for your division.
Right.
So now what? So now does it make sense? You lost the war and the battle. Like you didn't win anything. Yeah. And so the Bills should roll. They should beat them. I know the game is in Miami, but I mean, listen, the Bills have been playing better. And I have to say, as far as the Dolphins, there's blood in the water. So they should really go into the game looking to give them, because the difference in hosting, being the number 2 seed and the number 5 seed, it's astronomical, your chances of getting deep in the playoffs. So it's bad. It's bad business. What do you guys say?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you keep your starters in a game that's pretty much decided, 2 out of 2 things is going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt, or somebody's going to get really hurt. Okay, it's like an unwritten rule. No matter what side, no matter what side of the blowout you're on, if the game's well in hand, take your starters out. You know what's a prime example of that? The Switch Sports. The year the Sixers was the 8th seed and the Bulls was the number 1 seed. Okay, Derrick Rose was in the game. They're up 16 with about 2 minutes to go. He comes down the lane, does a crazy hop step, blows out his ACL.
Yep.
Okay, everybody say, "Oh, that's not Tibbs' fault." It's absolutely Tibbs' fault, because if you can't trust an almost 20-point lead to your bench, they shouldn't be on the team. Okay,
Correct.
The bench is there for a reason. They sometimes they're gonna have to bring it in for a landing. Same thing with this thing. You cannot have your starters out there stat padding if the game is out of hand. If it's over, it's over. Just move on to the next week. So now Tua's hurt. They lost Chubb.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody's sitting there with the same look on their face of,
Mostert was already out.
Exactly.
Waddle was already out.
Waddle limped off.
Tyreek's
Right.
not 100%. Like, it makes no sense.
Tyreek's not still
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's just. I think in a roundabout way they got what they asked for. You know, you leave them out there, they're going to get hurt. It means nothing. Take them off the field. If you like we was talking about when Tyreek wanted to get to 2,000 yards. If that's your only aspirations, to just get, you know, an individual accolade or just do something for that week, fine. Go all out. But if you want to play into late January, early February, you have to be smart. These are humans, human beings. Humans get hurt when you put them in dumb situations. Where they say you play dumb games, you win dumb prizes. They just won the dummy prize of the year with that right there. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, hold on. Waddle just limped off. Mostert's out. So I'm like,
no, Waddle didn't even play. He was out.
Waddle got hurt.
He got hurt in the
Cowboy
last
game.
game. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he got hurt.
He got hurt in the Cowboy game.
So like you put them backups out there. Let them put that Braxton Berrios. You put him out there. Let him get beat up. Who's the backup quarterback? Whoever that guy is, you put him out there. I don't even know. Put that guy out there. Let him get teed off on. Okay, your money makers.
I think Mike White is the backup. I think.
Okay, Mike White. You put Mike White out there. Let him throw. Let him throw
anybody.
Yeah, anybody. Put me
Sam
out there.
Darnold. Put Sam Darnold out there.
Put anybody out there. When the game's out of hand, you got to go to the backups. That's what they're there for.
He was cited in both of your games. So go ahead. But anyway.
I'm sorry.
Sam Darnold.
See, here we go.
Rod brought it up. I didn't want to.
Why you bring me into it, man? You could have just said, "Well, Rod, in your game."
I was just saying, everybody don't have a Sam Darnold, so that's what I'm just saying.
Oh,
you know,
my goodness, man! This is the second. This the second time I've been hit by friendly fire this game. Now I don't. I mean, I'm already.
So this is not me. I just want you to know,
because
I know
all
you guys had a peace treaty. You had a peace treaty last weekend, and so I was quiet. Rod is throwing, grenades and hiding his hand.
Listen, only thing I said, because Donald was saying all year. What did Donald say? What did he say to us, Scrap, when he played us, right? You're going to see a Sam Darnold sighting. Every week, he says, but every team the Niners play, it's going to be a Sam Darnold sighting.
It was last week too, right?
We're going to rest our starters in the middle of the second quarter because it's going to be so out of hand, right? That's what he says. So all I'm saying, just kind of keep it consistent to the thematic,
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little extra sensitive this week, but I've been feeling attacked lately, man. but yeah, it's the Dolphins. The Dolphins did everything wrong that game. They did everything wrong that game, and it's going to show. Now, when they get in the playoffs and they're one and done, they're going to come back. All this is going to come back up. So why did you leave this guy in? Why did you leave these guys in? He's going to come up with his cookie cutter answers. Oh, well, we're being competitive and we wanted to make sure that we could. No, bro, the game was over. Get him out of here.
He said if I could turn back the clock or something like that. In other words, admitting like it was dumb for him to keep Chubb out there. Like that just,
And Tua, really?
And Tua, yeah,
both
of them.
Try winning a game without a quarterback. Try winning a game without a quarterback.
Yeah,
he's going to have to. He's going to have to. Because the whole shoulder injury, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what you think about that, Rocket? I really
No,
don't have nothing
I'm
to
with
say
y'all.
about that.
I can't even add nothing to that.
Yeah,
No more.
yeah.
I would only just repeat and regurgitate.
I
what y'all
got my
just-
own stupidity to explain in a
Yeah.
couple minutes, so I can't
Oh,
worry about
we about
nobody
to.
else.
We're rounding the corner to talk about the Eagles.
Yeah, I
Why
know when
Eagles fly?
you threw the wrong bird in on me, you know. I thought you went to the Ravens.
So,
right.
The Eagles, and I'll take credit for this. They were flying high. They were 10-1. I mean, listen, we do have to look at the season and point out where a team has made an about face, right? I mean, we just have to do that. We have a responsibility on this show to point out things. Mm-hmm. So the Eagles were 10-1 until they met the 49ers, right? Week 13, everything changed in the Eagles fandom, their lives, everything changed. 42 points we put up on them. Mm-hmm. They have not been the same since. They have not been the same. They have taken the coordinator, defensive coordinator, sent him upstairs, which I don't think is a big deal. Upstairs, downstairs, as long as you call the defense and it's effective. Rod thinks it's a big deal, but
he's not.
Well,
he don't even call it anymore.
Well. Yeah.
Decide don't call the plays. Patricia does now, but
well, I know, but they sent him upstairs though.
Send him to his room.
Down.
Send him to his room. Yeah.
So I just think that the Eagles. I'll say this though: the Eagles are better suited to play on the road than the Cowboys, in my opinion. I do think that the Cowboys, had they played on the road, maybe this is the NFL with the outcome of the Lions Cowboys game and just the Eagles falling apart. They're helping everyone and holding it together because they want to put out the best product possible. Cowboys being in wild card weekend and playing and being on the road might end quickly. The Eagles, I think, will be able to put it together enough, although A.J. Brown has not caught a touchdown in December. This was not a December to remember. There is no Mercedes outside and a bow on it outside in his driveway. This was a horrible December. He's going to be upset. He's already, I don't want to speak to the media. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And so Jalen Hurts, if they want to make a quick exit in the playoffs, try to force feed A.J. Brown. That's the quickest way to go home. You got to go back to square one and figure out how do we maximize these skill players. You got Devontae that's hurt. So now a lot of it's going to fall on AJ, but you still got Dallas Goedert. You still got a good running game that you will abandon after 10 touches. Every game, 10 to 15 touches. Oh, okay, that's enough. We checked that box. I don't understand why you would not keep going with what works. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'd like to tip my hat to the 49ers for not only dismantling a team that looked like they were headed for destiny and headed back to the Super Bowl, but also they're in shambles. There's no excuse for it. They're in shambles. So we'll see what happens. What do you guys say?
Time out. Did you just say they were headed for destiny?
Well, at 10-1 they were.
You were 10-1. And you just came from the Super Bowl.
Listen. I appreciate you.
I mean, realistically speaking, if a team was how many games did y'all lose last year? 3 games?
Yeah, I appreciate you for saying that.
Coordinators leave, offense and defense, and then you start off 10-1. Who's thinking they're not going back? And Jalen Hurts, and they other than that one fumble, they played really neck and neck with the Chiefs. They should have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, we should have won that game.
Yeah. So
yeah, but what I will say is, ever since I say about week 3 or 4, we the defense was a glaring what do you want to call this weakness? Okay, Achilles heel, if you will. Like you knew the offense wasn't going to hold up to keep covering up for the defense. Now I feel like to this point now the Eagles have reached the status of what we call in Philly ITW, in the way. The Eagles is just in the way at this point. Now, what I'm going to say is they're going to Derek said he's a Cowboy fan. I don't pay him any mind.
D, what's up? What's going on,
He
Derek?
a Cowboy fan.
He a Cowboy fan. That's
He a
what's
Cowboy
I finally
fan.
I need some support, D. That's
Yeah,
what's
he
up.
a
How
Cowboy
about them
fan.
Eagles? That's what I'm talking about, Derek.
We're fine. Listen.
Go ahead.
The doom. This is the last week of doom and gloom. Because in 2 weeks we're all 0-0, and Scrap will be back. But I gotta call a spade right now. I gotta call a spade right now. We look horrible. I'm not gonna say both sides of the ball. This game was 1,000% on the defense. Because any other day, 31 points is enough to beat the Cardinals. I don't care what nobody say. 31 points is more than enough to beat the Cardinals, but not when your defense gives up 35. Okay, this is on the defensive coordinator. This is on the players. This is everything defense related. The offense, they could have probably tried to score another touchdown, like the 3rd and 20 Kenneth Gainwell screen with Devontae Smith blocking for him. We talked about the screens already, did we not? Mm-hmm. Screen should be outlawed. Screen should be out of our playbook altogether. So you knew that was going to rear its ugly head at some point. But what I will say is, like I've said weeks and weeks in advance, I don't worry about the defense because the defense is what it is. They're horrible. They're porous. Like I said, when you two guys were throwing accolades around, I jumped in the mix. I said, well, your guys is first in this, but we're first in giving up first downs on third down. Okay, our defense is horrible, but our offense, for about 10 weeks, we was able to, hide that by the offense being so high powered or whatever. But I mean, this is just part of the season. And with AJ, I don't worry about him. Now he's being labeled as a cancer because, all of a sudden people are not allowed to be, frustrated, upset, and not voice it. Because like I said before, the worst thing you could do to a professional athlete after a bad loss is stick a microphone in his face. AJ said he did the right thing in my opinion, because he probably would have said something that he probably was feeling, but not really. So I would rather not say something than to say something crazy than have to walk it back on Tuesday morning on the way to practice. So yeah, he said, "Nah, I ain't got nothing to say. Whatever. Say, quote whatever y'all want to quote." But I mean, I'm not worried to the point that that I'm like, oh man, let's go jump off a bridge. Because I mean, at this point, we are what we are. Whatever happens. Like that's just the mode I'm in right now. Like the last game, I think we're going to rest the starters because there's really no reason to try to come out there and win this game, especially with Dallas playing Washington. Like, yeah, let's go on the road, go down to Tampa Bay, and we'll start there. We'll start in the 5-hole and see where we go. Yeah, we'll start in the 5-hole. I'm perfectly fine with that. Rest the starters because Devontae's not going to play. So what, we gonna give y'all a heavy dose of Quez Watkins? Y'all really want to see me punch my TV? I won't if I see Quez Watkins lined up out there and they throw the ball to him more than 0 times, I'm just gonna turn it off. Because in this old age of mine, my blood pressure ain't right. I can't afford to sit here, and have my emotions go up and down, and then go right to anger. Because then I'm gonna have the same rod vein going down the middle of my head. And I can't do this no more, man. I'm getting too old for this. I gotta do something, I gotta start crocheting or something, man. Something that brings something that just brings me down and keep me level, man. I'm about to go in the basement and learn how to make rugs with my son, man. I'm about to get an apprenticeship, man. That's what I'm about to do. So I was not surprised. And you guys know, what did I say on that last drive? I said, if we don't get a touchdown here, we are going to lose. Yeah, I did say that. Listen, I thought the Seahawks loss was the most Eagle loss, and then they said, "Oh no, we got something better for you. Watch this." And then they came out. They came. They said, "No, we wouldn't do you like that. That wasn't the most Eagle. We're going to give you the most Philadelphia Eagle type loss we possibly can this week." And then we lost the Bird Bowl, man. We lost 2 Bird Bowls this year, man. It's just the next game is the Toilet Bowl, man. We might lose that too, man. I'm done with the regular season, man. I'm done. I'm getting in playoff mode. We're gonna do what we got to do in the playoffs, man. But that scrap will be back in 2 weeks. I'm going to give y'all what y'all need to see, man. Y'all going to get down.
So if the playoffs were to start now and you're locked into the 5 seed, Who would you play first round?
Probably Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. They will play Tampa Bay in the fifth. Yeah.
Hands and feet, and Tampa Bay will receive hands and feet. Yes.
They didn't look good this week. That's for sure.
No, they didn't look good this week.
I'm gonna be back on that. I'm gonna be back on that. But right now, I'm not gonna sit here in front. I'm not gonna lie to the people. I'm upset. You know, I'm upset, man. I don't believe. Well, I do believe it, but I don't believe they did me like this in front of y'all. You know, they know I come on here. They know what I do on here. They know how much I talk on here. You know, and they left me high and dry, man. And now I'm in the corner, as y'all see, and I gotta come out swinging, man. I gotta get these people off of me, man. I'm like Sir Smoke a lot on Half Baked. Remember when he was talking to Dave Chappelle? He just broke that. I can't take it no more. Just slid out the seat. That's how I feel right now. Yeah. That's just how I feel. I just can't take it no more, man.
Oh man. Yo, I'm telling you, Scrap, man. But I gotta say this though. So Don, you talked about the 10-1 Eagles at that time, but we were saying this, right? That all 10-1 teams were not created equal, and we were saying with the Eagles that close call, these close call wins at some point was going to catch up with them because it wasn't sustainable. And here's the interesting part, right? Dallas was getting ragged all year long about beating up bad teams, and then here you see the Eagles. They're either struggling against bad teams or they're losing to bad teams, right? So that's why I always say the whole notion of losing to bad teams, like we lost to the Cardinals, and y'all ragged me all year long about the Cardinals, right?
We swept the Cardinals.
Y'all swept them. Well, you know, and rightfully so. I mean, y'all and you know they.
No. We swept them.
We 1-3 against the NFC West. We 1-3 against the NFC West.
The Cardinals. You said you 1-3. Y'all went 1-3 against the NFC West. Yeah, and the Cardinals again, I ain't even gonna say it. Actually, Cardinals own Dallas. They beat us the last 6 times, so we struggle with the Cardinals. So God forbid, I don't think we see them on our schedule next year. So thank God for that.
Well, what the Cardinals did was their game plan was like it was perfect. They took what we gave them. They said first down, okay, y'all only gonna give us 5 yards. We'll take those 5 yards. Second down, y'all only gonna give us 3. We'll take 3. Third down, oh, we're gonna take 6. Fresh set of downs. Next down. Oh, okay, we got an incomplete 2nd and 10. Oh, y'all gonna give us 7 yards? We're gonna take 7 yards. Third down, because they converted every third down there was to convert. Maybe one.
Yeah, well, y'all last in the league on third down.
Exactly. So what they might as well do is every team we play, just start them on third down. Just cut to the chase. Just start every drive. Just start it on third down, and just let them march down the field, man. Like it's no suspense.
But let me ask you a question, though, Scrap. You know, you local resident there. Your ears to the streets, right? So, I think it was WIP. It's a morning show out there in Philly, right. So you know the hosts were going in, and the callers were going in. Everybody was going in.
That's what we do.
It's mayhem in Philly, right?
Yeah, that's what we do.
Let me know your thoughts on this, though, because right now, what the prevailing thoughts are, several things, right? So there was some insiders that said A.J. Brown is not the only one disgruntled. He's just the only one that's obviously bold enough to speak his mind on certain things. But that's the mindset of probably most of the team. They're saying that the culture's badly broken, and they're saying that Sirianni most likely now is on the hot seat, and he may lose his job next year or at the end of this year. And the reason for that is they're saying for several reasons. Number one caller called in. He made an interesting call. I said, I'm going to talk to Scrap about that. Get your take on this. One caller said Sirianni he doesn't know how to coach. He benefited from Steichen and Johnson, or not Johnson, the dude, who's the coach now for the Cardinals? Gannon. So Gannon and Steichen, Jonathan Gannon, he benefited from those are the guys that actually, grew Hurts, and they grew the offense and the defense. Obviously, y'all lost a lot of good players from last year's team, but clearly those two guys are the guys. Steichen doesn't know how to coach. Y'all got a lot of young cats.
Sirianni, you mean?
Sirianni. Yeah, you're talking about Sirianni.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Sirianni. Excuse me. Sirianni can't coach the younger players. They need coaching. They need to be coached up, and he's not coaching guys up. And this was the test to see if he was going to be able to stand out now that he doesn't have those stellar coordinators to be able to coach, right? Because that's really what you do. Because coordinators don't coach; they just stay there scheme, right? They're all about schematics. But the coach has to coach guys and get them there. So what they're saying in Philly is that that's not what he knows how to do. So right now you're seeing where that's why you got all the tough wins, 10-1, but it was a tough 10-1. It was a 10-1 team that had a lot of holes. The defense is vulnerable. So they're saying, because if what's his name got fired after winning the Super Bowl, they named the street after him in the 09, and they still fired him. Doug Peterson. Then the talk is, and this is what's being said, that they feel that Sirianni is on the hot seat, and so that's what they're saying. So what say you to all the chatter going on in Philly?
Well, two things, right?
And how you feel about it.
And Don knows this guy. We got a boss at my job named Brian Clark. We got a running thing that whenever the Eagles lose, we look at each other and we say, "No Sports Center this week," right? Like, absolutely, no Sports Center. So, fortunately for me, I haven't been listening to WI. I don't turn that channel on when we lose. Okay, I go right to WDAS. I listen to Steve Harvey and all them guys. And, I did dip in for a minute, and it's just frustration. That's all it is. It's frustration. Everybody has the answer when we lose. Okay, when we're winning, nobody cares about anything. Now, what I would say about Sirianni, he's not the best coach. Even last year with that run we went on, he wasn't even considered for Coach of the Year. He wasn't even mentioned for Coach of the Year. Okay, it's his third year. He'll be fine. They mentioned today on the radio that he's the winningest coach through the first 50 games in Eagles history. It is what it is with him. Like, everybody needs help with something. Okay, the first year he was on play calling. He gave up play calling to Shane Steichen. Okay. Fine, that's cool. But as far as Sirianni being on the hot seat, anytime you lose, you're on the hot seat. Okay, Mike Tomlin ain't had a losing season in 2 decades, and he's on the hot seat every other year. So when they say a coach on the hot seat, until he gets fired, I don't pay attention to none of that. Now with Doug Peterson, I think it was a thing where I think he wanted more control. It was something with them with a control thing. Like, they wanted him to do something that he didn't want to do, because he came out and said that, I think it was a communication thing, because he came out and said that, all his coordinators would be back. And then an hour later, the upper management fire all the coordinators. Okay. So with him, it was a not on the same page with management type thing. And then I don't even think he got fired. They had an agree, they had a meeting, and I guess, the two sides couldn't agree on something. So Doug, either he resigned or he, okay, go ahead, just let me go and do something else. But with Sirianni, like I said, it's only his third year. He put us in the playoffs all 3 years. Only in modern sports can you have success and still be on a hot seat. Like I said, Dwayne Casey for the Raptors, he was coach of the year and then got fired like a week later after he got the trophy. Like, it's a win now it's a win now world that we live in. If you're not, so
you got confidence in Sirianni. You feel like he what blame do you give him? I'll just say this. This is my last question, D. Then you can take it from where you're going to take it.
I give him the blame of not being able to right the ship, so to speak, because like you said, like we said earlier in the year, 2 new coordinators is major, and then a whole new. The offense is pretty much the same. We just got to do running back on offense, but a whole new defense. Like, we lost all the linebackers. Howie, for some reason, he put money into older players, your Bradberries, and he let GJ walk. And then he let those linebackers go to Kazir White and TJ Edwards. And then, but I think he re-signed Fletcher Cox. And he what he did, it seemed like he rewarded the older players and let the younger ones leave. When you got to go with youth, just like with Ringo, even though he got beat on that last, the quick slant touchdown thing, and it's just, he's young. Like, you gotta, at some point, if these players are your future, you got to put them on the field. Okay, put them on the field.
Blaine got beat. It happens.
Yeah, Blaine got beat. But just like, and if I can go back to the game, like late in the game, like with Brian Johnson, I don't know who called the play, the quarter after we pretty much ran the ball right down the field, and they stopped giving the ball to the running back. Okay, they bore Swift out, and then they did like two quarterback sweeps. Like the Lions came with a heavy box. You got Mr. Slant Pass on the outside, 1-on-1. You got him. AJ take 2 steps in, he's right there. Like, Mr. Slant Pass, like, for some reason, but I'm not gonna go back to that. But with the coach, it's just part of being a coach, man. Like, that's what it comes with. Like, unless you're a big name coach like a Belichick or a Cowher or Shanahan, like, you're not going to get the glory when your team does good. You're going to get all the blame when they do bad, and that's just what's happening with Sirianni. He knew what he signed up for when he signed that contract and accepted the job. That's just part of sports. If you're the coach, you're going to get blamed for everything. Everything.
Point there. James,
you're going to get blamed for everything.
Every year, last 2 years, we've changed coordinators and we just keep rolling. But you're right.
Y'all changed coordinators, but not players. Y'all still got all y'all.
Yeah,
y'all
players are still intact though. For the most part, your key players.
Y'all don't bring in new young guys. You bringing in like solidified Chase Youngs and Javon Hargreaves and stuff like that. You're not bringing in some kid that got to cut his teeth. You bringing in people with full grown Dracula, blood sucking teeth. Yeah, fangs. Like, yeah. So it's a difference. It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference.
My personal opinion, I don't think Sirianni needs to go, only because if you bring a team to the Super Bowl and then the next year, after losing both coordinators, you still have 11, 12 wins, you did a good enough job. I think,
not in Philly.
Forward.
Not in Philly.
No, I know, not in Philly.
Not in Philly, apparently.
But, I mean, and we've seen successful coaches get fired for less, right? So I think his job is safe. But if he is to go, I mean, what are you going to do? Who's going to
root for the next guy?
That's it.
I have no idea. They speculate. They say who's out there. They say, Harbaugh might be coming back to the NFL after this season because he's probably done at Michigan. And then they was throwing around the hoodie. And not people that probably won't take the job. It's just, you just throw names of people around that's out there. But I don't think Sirianni should get fired. Like you said, he just came from the Super Bowl and now he got 12 wins under his belt. The losses, it's the fact that the wins were not pretty, but the losses were ugly. Like, the losses was horrible. So that stands out, and it's a what have you done for me lately world that we live in. Okay, that loss the other day, that was hideous at home.
But I think it has a lot to do with it. But I think the culture in that locker room, bro. Whether I don't know where it all, but there's the cracks that are in there, bro. It's not even about play anymore, right? Like you said, Scrap, y'all been who y'all been, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. But just clearly, just mentally and emotionally, the camaraderie, the will to want to win, the will to actually want to dominate these lesser opponents. It's just not there. Y'all look like y'all just want this to end, man. Like, let this season be over. Like, we don't really care. We just want this guy out. We want that guy gone, and then we'll start fresh.
That's what I was saying. The best thing that could have happened is that we kept winning, and Brian Johnson looked good to some team, and they come get him. And same thing with Sean Desai. He looked good, and they come get him like they did, Steichen and Gannon. Because when you're successful, like I said, they come picking off the tree. Give me that guy. He must know something. Give me that guy to coach this team.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it?
Yeah, I know it too.
Nobody goes for the Cowboys. You lose anybody?
I mean, that's. Yeah. I mean, that's how our dynasty. I can't get my words out. That's how our dynasty got twisted in the '90s from free agency.
You said the '90s?
Yeah.
What is this?
The '90s.
Yeah.
That's how. Well, you took Ken Norton from us, right? After he won 2 chips with us. Ken Norton Jr. The Niners signed him after he won 2 chips with Dallas, and then they picked a lot of our players apart, man. Our defense started to suffer a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
We should have a '90s day on here. Just everybody come here dressed with their Nietzsche hoodies and South Pole and the Delph jackets or something, just so Rock can feel at home.
Jabos.
With the color straps on
them. Saying, I can't front. I don't mind going back to some '90s. You know what I'm saying? The pumps and everything. See if we can get one of
our
Nike pumps.
Female commentators to come on with some 5411s. Like, come on, man. What's going on, right? Nobody's taking your coordinators.
Coordinators? No. Kellen Moore went to Oh, you talking about coordinators? I'm sorry, I drew a blank. I thought you were talking about players. Kellen Moore, no, he's in San Diego now. I mean, Los Angeles now. They still
didn't he get fired or something?
No, he's still there.
I'm saying from Dallas.
No.
Did Dallas fire him or somebody came and got him?
No, we just we let him go, but he was gonna, we let him go.
So he wasn't poached. He wasn't poached.
No, goodness no.
No,
Sunny
it's
side
not.
up.
Well,
Sunny
Dan
side
Quinn
up.
has
He
been
wasn't
poached twice already, but Jerry
It's not the
was able to-
same, right? It's not.
Why
the
is
same.
not the same? I
Sorry to say
mean, Quinn is he not a coordinator for us? He's just the same.
that. No,
You
I'm
know,
talking about. We talking about Kellen
we-
Moore. It's not the same.
Oh, Kellen Moore. No, you're right. It's not the same. Yeah, he wasn't poached. Yeah, we let him go. We mutually part ways, and then the Chargers went on and signed him. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I hope not. I hope not, James. I ain't gonna lie. We lose Dan. It's I don't know. It's hard.
Unless
has
he's
done a
your
lot
head
for
coach,
us.
right?
I wouldn't mind seeing Dan as head coach. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Because it wasn't Dan's fault. Well, it was Dan's fault. He let Kyle make a stupid call, so it's his fault. But the defense too. His defense let him down in that Super Bowl as well. With the 49ers. So with the Falcons. So, but anyway. But go ahead, D, it's your world. Last but not least, right? You know, the almighty, the powerful, all, go ahead. Yeah.
It's going to be quick.
I wouldn't be upset about that, James. No, I wouldn't be upset.
This is the 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him
they rested McCaffrey, man, and I'm in the chip this week, man. Thanks, Don. Appreciate you.
Yeah, McCaffrey, they're going to get a 2-week bye. All them guys.
He's gonna have almost 3 weeks off.
And they got a bye.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, listen. 49ers did what they needed to do, secured the number 1 seed. I'm excited about that.
Thanks to Brad Allen.
Who's that?
Yeah, see,
we're going back to the ref.
We're going back to the refs. Thanks for Brad Allen. If Brad Allen doesn't botch it up, then the Niners aren't the number 1 seed. So
you
go
guys
ahead. Give some credit. Give some credit.
My battery is low. Hold on a second. I'm gonna
okay.
Be right
All right, go charge his battery. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like, we gonna talk about conspiracies and who benefited from what. Yeah, Dallas. Okay, you say Dallas won the game because of the refs, but so did the Niners. Niners scored a break too. So you know what I'm saying? It's all good. Nah, but I wouldn't mind seeing Quinn. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind seeing Quinn as head coach. I wouldn't. I'm okay with that. But we got to get an offensive coordinator though, because if we ever got rid of Mike, which they won't get rid of Mike. Mike is like Sirianni's scrap. He's not going anywhere. So he's won 12 games.
Mike at least got a Super Bowl under his belt, right? With the Packers?
I mean 100 years ago he won with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers back in 2011.
Yeah, so
so that's over. That's a long time ago.
So who gets credit?
So the Niners, y'all benefited from the botch call too, from the conspiracy. Y'all benefited from that too, right? I mean, that's how
he's trying to pull you in. He's trying to pull you in on this nonsense.
I'm just saying that's a fact. Is that not a fact? Did y'all not?
Is that a flag?
Dallas won?
That's old school. We still in the 90s.
Yeah, he spent 30 minutes talking about the fact that it wasn't any stupid call and it, all of this and that. And now, the end of the show, you want to say the Niners benefited from it?
No, but did y'all not benefit? You said, did you think Dallas? Do you think that the refs cheated? You think the checks cleared, right? So if the check cleared, who's your owner over there? Is York still your owner? Who's your owner over there? So York, so him and Jerry didn't go half and half on that check. You don't think?
No,
no,
I don't think so.
No?
First of all, you have to understand this.
Okay.
Whether the Lions won or not, it wouldn't have affected our number 1 seed. If we went out, we would have still won the number 1 seed.
So you saying y'all controlled your own destiny as far as that goes?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because we beat you two guys.
Okay,
and we put 42 up on both.
Okay, so then I stand corrected then. Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. Okay, my bad. All right. Okay, so that's
why did I do that? So
42.
Long story
short, talk about punching down.
Punching down. CID punch down.
Niners secured the number 1 seed. That was important. That gives us the opportunity to rest our players for the stretch run. And coming off of a loss with Baltimore looking like world beaters, and they backed it up and put a whipping on Miami. I like the fact that we're going into it somewhat. People are questioning how good can we be. Early on in the season, it seemed like no, people are doubting now. When we matched up against Baltimore, and the way we lost, there was some real questions as to Brock Purdy, with the turnovers, what person are we going to see? There's still doubt with Brock Purdy. And I'm okay with that. I like that. Keep that doubt going all the way to Allegiant Stadium. Keep all of that doubt all the way till we get there. And when the confetti is falling on us, then all the doubters, then the naysayers.
I mean, there's doubt against Baltimore in the Super Bowl, but not if Baltimore gets there. I'm still not even so Baltimore can get there. But I don't know, D. I don't know if that I don't know how heavy that narrative was in rotation, because I mean, not against the NFC teams. Like, there's no one in the NFC that could really match up with y'all if y'all are fully healthy and clicking on all cylinders. We don't have a defense like Baltimore has. You know, the Eagles don't have it. Nobody else. So who else is there? There's no one else. Detroit.
No.
Detroit again, is.
We have different goals. February is our goal.
So you're saying people were doubting Brock Purdy as far as winning a Super Bowl?
Correct.
Or you saying
what we would do matching up against the best team. So when we played, it was number 1 seed versus number 1 seed, and they outshined, they balled out, right? Yep. So there is a question, especially with Brock. You know, we had 5 turnovers in that game. Mm-hmm. So when people think of who we will ultimately see in the Super Bowl, that's what they're looking at. So going into the playoffs, we have hot teams in the NFC, right? So the Rams are very hot. Last week notwithstanding, Tampa Bay was hot. So there's still some questions as to who will represent the NFC. The Niners did what they needed to do. They won. It wasn't their normal blowout game, but we won.
Yeah,
by
it was pretty close.
Points.
That game was pretty close. Yeah,
we won by 17 points. It was a victory, but most importantly, once we saw that after the game, we were watching. There was players that were watching the end of the Eagles game. Once we locked that down, I think for us, health is the most important thing moving forward. I think the Commanders, Ron Rivera, he has one more week. He's going to be on the chopping block. I don't know what they're going to do with Eric Bieniemy. I thought that Washington would have had a better showing if they let Jacoby Brissett play instead of Sam Howell, but for whatever reason, they put Sam Howell back in. Now,
you about to call him Ham?
Ham, right.
Ham Sal.
Ham sandwich.
Now, I will say this. Terry McLaurin, who's a really good wide receiver, he mentioned that he saw our team and the way we play for each other, and he was excited about that and said, one day, I hope I can be part of a team like that. And that warmed my heart. I got to be honest about it. Warmed my heart.
Jesus.
We're going all the way. Fellas, if I haven't announced that to you already, we are winning the Super Bowl. Confetti will fall on us February 11th.
I won't be
y'all.
Not if y'all play Baltimore. Y'all won't.
Y'all better.
That's what I like. That's exactly what I like.
So soon, D.
That's what I want.
D. I don't know.
You just said there was no doubt, and now you're doubting.
No doubt as far as getting to the Super Bowl, but if y'all play now, if y'all play Buffalo for whatever reason they get there by chance, Kansas City somehow
if we get to
slips in there, right? I mean, you don't have any other AFC teams, and the only team that really proposes a threat to Baltimore might be Cleveland if Joe Flacco kind of does what he's doing now. But I still don't think
somebody said Cleveland was going to have a better record and make the playoffs, a better record than Baltimore. I mean, than Buffalo. I think somebody said that.
I don't know if I've ever said that.
Clips. No, I said it.
You said that Cleveland. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you always suspect of Buffalo. I mean, you was always not bought in on them. So I mean, but
Buffalo has been able. They have this team. The reason why I think they're going to win the division and maybe go a little bit deeper in the playoffs is because this is their last time. That team is going to blow up. I'm not sure the coach is going to be there. I definitely know Diggs is out of there.
Well, and Diggs, I think, will be gone. Yeah.
And now the cap hit.
Dallas been tampering with him since last year.
Right, you know exactly. It's just my brother. This ain't these ain't my words.
Yeah.
This is my brother. So if they win,
sure wouldn't mind having him. Yeah.
can you afford him? No.
No, we can't. We can't.
What are you talking
No way.
about?
We got to pay my. No, I said it would be nice if we had him. I sure wouldn't mind having him, but we can't. I mean, realistic. That was just wishful thinking. That's all. No, we can't afford Diggs. Not at all. No way. We got to pay Micah and CD. So no way.
They do have a chance not to make the playoffs, but I think they will definitely make the playoffs, because what happens is, I know that the Bills have dealt with a lot of injuries, but at the end of the day, the NFL is concerned with the product that they put out for the consumers, right? So they're not going to put up a team. This is not going to be a Florida State, I think we can compete because we have a great record, and then get torched, right? Or any of those other teams, right? I use Florida State as an example. Miami is limping into the playoffs, right? And of course they're going to make the playoffs, but I think every opportunity is going to be afforded to the teams that are the healthiest and the most competitive moving forward. So of course there might be an outlier that gets in, a team that you don't expect to get as far. There has to be an upset, right? That's how.
Jacksonville, maybe.
No.
Well, Indianapolis or Houston, they're all 9-7. The whole AFC South is tied with Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Houston. That is, of course, Tennessee's eliminated. So one of those three teams, because you already got two teams in from the North, because Cleveland clinched a spot, but you still got the Steelers hanging in there, and so that last spot is still up for grabs between Buffalo could not make the playoffs, but I think they'll get in.
Yeah. Listen.
So I mean, but the post contract, we're going to handcuff the Cowboys. Huh? I don't understand that. After the post contract, we're going to handcuff the Cowboys into. How does Bosa's contract affect Dallas? I don't understand. Well, yeah, his extension is coming up, so Dallas is going to have to figure it out with the extension between Dak, and then you got to pay Lamb. You got Micah coming up, so. Yeah, we got a lot of it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: the Niners did what they needed to do. Rest, of course, is the most important thing. We need CMC to be as close to 100% as possible. He made a mistake. It was Parsons he was talking about.
Yeah, it was Parsons he was talking about. Okay, Parsons, yeah, Parsons, yeah. No, it's tough. Dallas got some big decisions to make, but you're gonna sign them. You're gonna make it work. You'll find a way to sign those guys. You're not letting CD and Parsons go. So you'll figure something out. Yeah.
And so I just want to. There's something that me and Rod have been talking about. I'm. If you have anything else for the Niners,
you know what? He was waiting for this though, Scrap. He was waiting. He was waiting for this part of the conversation. He was just enduring the show.
We're not going to go. We're not going to. I'm just going to pose it to the audience, and then on our next show we'll address it, because that's going to be.
Okay. It don't matter. Yeah. We get.
Because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I just want to bring everyone to this and see what you think about this take. We were looking at Brandon Ayuk's numbers, right? And Brandon Ayuk, according to Rodney, is the fourth best weapon on the Niners, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's talking about CD Lamb being the number one. Clearly, if any time a receiver gets 12 to 15 targets a game, they are head and shoulders the number one option.
Not any receiver though, but yeah, you could target a lot of receivers. You could target what's his name? Your boy Watkins, or Quez Watkins. Target him 15 times and see if he'll still turn out to be a number one.
They wouldn't do it. See, now we're punching down again. Listen.
Well, no, I'm just saying you're talking about targets. I thought you were saying targets is what but go ahead. Maybe I was presuming your argument.
Okay. All right. So let me cut to the chase.
Go ahead.
CD Lamb has 177 targets, right? And he has like 115 catches, something like that, and a total of 1,600, a little over 1,600 yards as the number one dominant receiver. Dominant, unquestioned number one receiver. He has a total of 12 touchdowns, right? Now, we look at the number 4 receiver on the Niners, or the number 4 weapon, who has 1,300 with 67 less targets. So CeeDee Lamb, being this dominant number one, only has 300 plus more yards and 5 more touchdowns than the number 4 option. Make that make sense to me.
I will make it make sense because
if the 49ers
go ahead, finish.
If the 49ers targeted Brandon Ayuk as much as the Cowboys target CeeDee Lamb, what would the numbers be? That's the only question I have.
Well, here's the thing, D. You got to take into account. So why is Ayuk averaging 18 yards a catch? Right?
He's a great receiver. That's why.
No. Number one receivers don't average 18 yards a catch because number one receivers run all kind of routes.
That's not true.
So when did Jerry Rice and Randy and these guys average? Right, but Moss didn't get a lot of targets like that. Okay, let's do Randy Moss.
Oh my goodness!
So for his career, he averaged 15 yards a carry. A catch. Now in his first year, he had 69 receptions.
Who is
right?
This?
I'm talking about Randy Moss.
Okay.
Randy Moss averaged 19. He averaged 19 yards a catch. Okay, now remember he had Chris. He still had Chris, but remember Chris Carter was still the number one receiver on that team. He came in as a rookie. He was still the number 2 receiver.
So arguably, who is the best receiver? If we have to do pecking order, now we're deep diving. But is Chris Carter a better receiver than Randy Moss?
He's in the Hall of Fame too. Why not?
I don't care about that.
A very good possession.
No
receiver.
Pecking order. Who is?
No, he's not. He's not as stylish or flashy, but he was. He's a Hall of Fame receiver. But D, if you look at Randy Moss in the first 3 years of Randy Moss' career, he averaged 19 yards a catch, 17 yards a catch, 18 yards a catch. Then after that, he breaks down. In 2001, all the way up to 2012, he didn't average more than 15 yards a catch. So that tells you that as a number one, that's in his prime. In his prime, he wasn't averaging 18, 19 yards a catch like he did as a rookie because he wasn't a number one. Number ones don't average that. It's how the Niners use Ayuk.
What does CeeDee Lamb average a catch? Because then let you tell it. It should be like
this
9
year.
yards.
Well, for his career, it's only 13 yards a catch, and this year it's only 13.
So what about this year? This year's
13 and a half. 13 and a half yards.
So now,
because he runs stick routes, he runs crossers, he runs slant. Ayuk, they don't use Ayuk like that. They use Ayuk over the top. They use Ayuk as running post routes and intermediary passes. Ayuk don't catch no slants. Ayuk don't catch they don't use him for stick routes or comebacks or digs. He don't run those kind of routes on a regular. He runs, he's like what Alvin Harper was to Michael Irvin.
Right.
I'm listening. I got to get ready for work, fellas. I'm gonna let y'all punch it out. I can't participate in this one because I don't have a wide receiver to throw in there. Can I say Mike Quick?
Mike Quick was the man, though. I like Mike Quick. Back in the days, I was a little Mike Quick fan. He's hurt some walls a little bit.
Happy New Year's to you. Happy New Year to you guys, man.
No doubt.
Thanks, SKRAPP.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, SKRAPP, man.
Absolutely.
No doubt, bro.
I gotta get ready for work. Brother. See y'all in a couple days.
All right, see you in a few, bro. You got it.
Later.
Yeah. So I know we can talk.
I'm not gonna go deep. I'm not gonna deep dive into this because I know that
I have to do a reel. I'm gonna do a reel this
week.
Man.
But I'm just asking you a question, and I'm asking the audience this question.
And what's the question to the audience?
So the question is, if a player has 67 more targets, catches, than X player, right?
Right.
A player has 67 more opportunities than X player.
Right.
X player at the end of the day only has 315 yards more than the player with 67 less targets, catches.
Right.
what do you think the number would be?
He would
if you gave Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb's exposure and that many touches based on the numbers, simply on the numbers, so then you're saying then that CeeDee Lamb is underperforming?
No, I'm saying to you that the reason why Lamb has more targets and is more exposed because he is a true number one. There are no other options like that for Dallas. Ayuk is playing with Debo, Kittles, and CMC.
He has 1,300
so the question
yards.
becomes, but what? Right, because of the way the offense is so potent. But yet you also got CMC, who's over 2,000 yards with all-purpose yards. Right? You still got Kittles, who's leading everybody in his category as a tight end. The truth of the matter is, is that the question is, why isn't Ayuk getting the same targets as CeeDee? Because he's not a number one. There's too many other weapons on that team. The only way you know Ayuk is a number one, put him on a team where there's no CMC. Give him a Pollard. Give him Gallup as a second wide receiver, and see how that turns out for Ayuk. See how that turns out. Give me even a Brandon Cook, who he would never pair up with because they run similar routes. They're similar wide receivers. They're similar players. You know what I'm saying? Brandon Ayuk from being a top 5, it's his drops. No, it's not his drops. It's the fact that he don't get the targets because he's not the number one threat. When Kyle Shanahan draws up plays, he's got plays for Ayuk according to his skill set. So Ayuk is good. And clearly, I will say this.
To his skill set.
Chemistry has developed between Purdy and Ayuk. And Ayuk is a very good receiver. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not downing him at all. He is a really good receiver. But he's not the focal point. CeeDee Lamb is the Cowboys offense. He's their best player and still can't be stopped. That's a number one.
Do you think that pay has something to do? Do you think teams, let me ask you a question. Do you think that teams, based on how much a player is paid, gives them preference in the offense? Do you think that they would pay Deebo Samuel the amount of money that he's making and not afford him every opportunity to get his share in the offense? Brandon Ayuk is up for a big contract.
Right. So what you saying? They're not giving the ball because they don't want to pay him? Is that what you're implying to imply?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Deebo already got paid. That's why. Deebo is a great receiver. He gets targeted? Yeah. So your argument, and we'll have to continue this. Your argument doesn't make sense that according to you, the fourth option has 300 yards less than your number one option.
Because of the routes he runs. Ayuk only, I'm telling you, because he averages more yards per catch. How do you average more yards per catch? You got to run routes like that. He runs routes he runs big crossing routes. And that's the only routes he runs.
We're not talking about insurmountable. We're not talking about a huge difference. We're talking the difference of 5 yards a catch more than CeeDee Lamb.
That's a big difference, but that's a big difference.
With 67 less catches.
But D, you can't compare those two because, again, the reason why, the question now becomes, you're looking at the stats, but then you got to ask the questions behind the numbers. Why do the numbers look the way they look? The numbers look the way they look because Ayuk is not a number one. Even last year, even the year before that, Ayuk has been in the league for these 4 years, right? Ayuk has he had 60 receptions, right, on 96 targets in 2020. 2021, he had 56 receptions for 84 targets. All right, so those are not number one numbers. Okay, and that was and even with Deebo before his contract and everything else. Last year, okay,
but we got to remember the season that Deebo was having.
Why was Deebo having a season and not Ayuk? Because Ayuk is not a number one. He's a complimentary receiver.
We're talking about Deebo's impact in the run game and the passing game. Deebo is he is a different type of receiver, even from CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
In my opinion, he's more lethal than CeeDee Lamb. Deebo.
Well, he is because he's a hybrid. He can run out the backfield. He runs screens. It's all about how they use him. I totally agree with that. I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is that Ayuk is not, put Ayuk on a number one receiver is a receiver that's going to get the targets, and he is the number one threat on the offensive on offense, particularly with the receivers as a number one receiver. That's not Ayuk. CeeDee Lamb wouldn't probably have the targets and the yardage that he sees now in Dallas if he was playing with a Debo and a CMC and a Kittles. Okay. He would not.
Eureka.
He would not.
You got it.
No, because
that's what I'm saying.
Weapons.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Put any receiver in that 49er. Okay, put AJ Brown in there. Put Jamar Chase in there. Put Diggs. Put Tyreek Hill. You think Kyle Shanahan is going to center that offense totally around Tyreek Hill, or he's going to spread that ball around to all the other viable weapons that are on that team?
You're making my point for me. If you take a Brandon Ayuk and put him, give Brandon Ayuk based on what he's doing already, being, according to you, the fourth best option for the Niners.
He won't.
And you give him 67 more catches. What do you think his numbers would be?
But if he's a number one, he's not going to be able to get all those receptions because he's going to be double. You don't even know if Ayuk could be double. When was the last time Ayuk was ever double teamed? He's not double teamed. Nobody's scheming for Ayuk. I mean, they plays and certain things that you'll see, but no one is staying up all night playing for him. CMC is number one. Then you got Debo, you got Kittles. Ayuk is not the number one guy defenses are planning to stop. He's not. He's benefiting from these other guys that get exposure because he's left one-on-one and he runs the kind of routes that he runs.
So what do you think about this?
Yeah.
If he moved, let's just say you moved him to the Chiefs, which I don't want that to happen. Brandon
he could be a number one, but he's got to run more routes. See what happened with Randy Moss. That's the reason why his yards per catch went down. Okay, in those seasons is because of the fact, and when you look at it, right, and check it, when he had 106 catches in 2002, guess how many yards he averaged per catch? 12.7, because he had to run different routes. You are number one. You got to run your whole route tree. That's not Ayuk.
Are you suggesting that Brandon Ayuk can't run the whole route tree?
I'm suggesting that they don't. If he can't, we don't know.
There's a difference
that's not how they use him. They don't use him like that.
Does that mean he can't though?
I don't know if he can or if he can't, because maybe if he could, then maybe I'm sure Shanahan would probably have him run some other routes. Why won't he use them in other ways? You only average 18. What?
You just said we have all of those. What? He's the fourth, according to you.
No, according to you too, he's a fourth.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
So D, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Niners are a better team without CMC?
No.
Are you guys a better team? Can you still win without Debo?
I mean, we have one without Debo, but no, that wouldn't be ideal. No.
Right. You went okay. And then you have Kittles. Do you think your team is formidable without Kittles?
If we have Brandon Jennings, I think we can get by without Kittle. To be honest.
Okay. So the question is, out of Ayuk, Kittles, Debo, and CMC, if you had to sacrifice one of those guys, who would you sacrifice? Who's going off that team? Who is going to get benched that day if you can't play all those guys? Who's not going to play?
With Brock Purdy as the quarterback? I'm asking you.
Brock Purdy. It's the 49ers, the team you have now, that same team you have now.
That's not as cut and dry as you think it is.
Why would it not be? Why would it not be? If you you considering dropping Kittles and play Ayuk?
Oh, if it came up to that and I had to decide between Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, Ayuk is going to play.
You think Ayuk is more of a lethal weapon than Kittles? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Really? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because as you've mentioned, every receiver blocks.
Okay.
And Kittle has a high value. I'm not taking away from him with that. But if it came down to CMC, Debo, Kittle, or Ayuk, give me Ayuk.
Okay, so you're gonna take Ayuk, okay, over Kittles as the guy who would have to be sacrificed. out of those 4 guys. And mind you, Kittle is and if you want to look at stats, kind of comparable. They're both over 1,000 yards. And Kittle and Ayuk only has 7 more catches more than Kittle at the tight end spot. Okay, at the tight end spot. So you mean to tell me an all-pro tight end, Now, mind you, Ayuk has never even made a Pro Bowl in his career. Not even a Pro Bowl. And you tell me you would sit Ayuk over Kittle's, who would give you, and even though Ayuk is a good blocker, you would sit Kittle. Right. Oh, you said you'll sit Ayuk. If you had to sacrifice those.
I will sit Kittle for Ayuk.
You'll sit Kittle. So you would sit an all-pro tight end who's comparable in numbers, but can also give you a lot down the field and block, because the tight end position is important, all right? You would still get Kittles. You would still sit Kittles over Ayuk. D, what is it with Ayuk? Is he family or something? I don't know what it is. Did you find out he's a third cousin or something? What's going on here?
So,
I don't know.
Let me just suggest this to you as we wrap up the show.
Okay.
Check out his college tape. I would suggest that you check out how he played in college.
So you want to see
No, listen.
in Oklahoma? Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he drafted higher. Where did Brandon even draft? I mean, not that
draft matters
right?
now.
But you going back to college footage. I mean, I'm
saying because I've been following Brandon Ayuk. Okay. Even when he was in college. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
all right.
Look at him because you're not able to look at him as the player because of everyone else. They're fogging and making everything blurry to see his skills. So I'm saying go back to college and look at his work in college. See if he can run every route in the route tree, please. And then,
if you're making a point about whether he can run different routes, then that's an argument that I could that you're making that could be corroborated in the sense where I could go back and look and see if he can run routes. Maybe he can run routes, right? But at the end of the day, how he's using the 49er system, why is he used? In other words, what I'm trying to say, D, why is Ayuk? Because Ayuk was running every route in the route tree in college. Why didn't they scale him back in the NFL? Huh?
You are making that point. If he's the 4th guy, there's no need for. So that you're
because he's not a number 1. That's why he's the 4th guy. He's not a number 1. Why would he get scaled back if he can run? They didn't scale back CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb came out as a top pick, and he still is that dude in the NFL. Let me ask you a question. Did Devontae Smith win the Heisman Trophy? No, he did not.
You better believe he did.
Okay, Devontae Smith. Well, I don't even remember who won the Heisman Trophy. To be honest with you, he won the Heisman Trophy. Devontae Smith's the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm sorry, America.
Let's look at it.
I really don't watch college football.
Let's look up Devontae Smith. If he won the Heisman Trophy, please. I don't want to be wrong, but let's look and see if he won the Heisman Trophy.
I don't know. Let's see here. Let's pull him up. He won the Heisman Trophy. He was awarded the Heisman.
Is he the number 1 receiver on the Eagles? Is he considered the number 1 receiver? So what does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do. Usage is directly reflected on pay. Pay has something to do with it.
Okay, go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
If
pay has something to do with it.
If Devontae won the Heisman Trophy as a receiver, right? Clearly, he can run every route, right? Clearly, he was the top in college, right? Or perceived to be the top.
I imagine so. Yeah.
He goes to a team with receivers, and they bought he was drafted. They bought AJ Brown, and AJ Brown is the number 1 receiver. My point is how a team uses a player does not indicate how great a player is. Now,
no, it does not.
Based on the pecking order and who's getting paid the big dollars, because the same order that you're saying he falls in, that's the same order in pay also. There is a correlation to that. Once he gets that $20 million a year, he will be used as a $20 million a year wide receiver. That's my point.
Right, but Debo came in the league in 19, right? And Ayuk came into the league in 20. So it was only a year. So for all intents and purposes, they kind of came in together. And Debo clearly separated himself as a better receiver and player than Ayuk. Again, Ayuk is not a bad player. He's a very good receiver. He's better than probably most of the number 2s out there, if not all of them. He's better than Gallup and Cooks for sure. I would say.
Let me ask you this. We'll get off of Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
Is T. Higgins a number 1 or a number 2?
Well, right now he's a number 2. Could he be a number 1? He could be if he gets on another team, but Chase is a better receiver.
This show is finished, man.
You said what your question about T. Higgins is what? Is he a number 1? He's not.
Is he a number 1 receiver playing in a number 2 role? Is my question. He is a number 1 receiver. Just because he's not utilized that way does not make him not a number 1 receiver.
Right.
What are you basing it on? Targets? Is that what makes?
No, not target.
Half the season, CeeDee Lamb was a number 2, based on what you're saying, right? Until he had that discussion, he was a number 2 receiver.
No, he was the number 1 that wasn't getting the ball. That's the problem. Dallas just wasn't using him, and we're both saying the same thing, but in a different way. D, the usage makes a difference, right? Ayuk is not going to go up to Shanahan and say, "I need the ball more." He's not saying that. He doesn't have the cachet to do that. Good receiver. Yes, he's got over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. He has yet to get over 80 catches for a season.
Well, it's not the first time in his career. It's not the first time.
Let me see. Let me pull.
He had over 1,000 yards last year. Yes, over
yes, he did. I stand corrected. Yes,
he
did. Yeah,
1,000. Don't Brandon Ayuk me now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay, he barely. I mean, he had 15 yards over 1,000. He did.
Is it over 1,000?
It's 1,000 yards. It's 1,000 yards. But D, he's still not. He's not calling for the ball. No one is saying that we got to get Ayuk the ball to win. It wasn't like with CD. Once CD started getting the ball, Dallas started to trend upward. Every time he gets the ball, good things happen with Dallas when he gets CD Lamb the ball.
Almost any receiver.
No, that's not true. Quez Watkins can get that many. There's a lot of receivers. Jennings, you give Jennings 15 catches, 15 targets. You think he'll be a good receiver, your boy Jennings?
Do you think Cook would be with 15 targets? How did
Cook's been a number 1. Cook's had 4.
How did Michael Gallup do it when he got 10 targets that one game?
Gallup is not a number 1 though. He's not. Gallup ain't even a number 2. And we thought that. That's why we let Amari walk and gave him some of that money and gave it to Gallup for a bad contract that we gave him. But he's gone after this year. Dallas gonna let him go. His guarantee money is up. His contract, we can let him go. He's not a number 2. We thought he was a number 2, but he's not. He's not. He can't get separation. Ayuk is a good receiver, D.
All right, so just we got 2 minutes.
Okay, good.
Just give me the quick criteria. What makes a number 1 receiver a good separation, speed, footwork,
route running, and to be able to run a lot of the route tree. Okay. And then I would say, route running.
What do you think, Brandon Ayuk, if he played in the slant as much as CD played, what do you think he would do?
They move CD around just like they move Debo around. That's what they do. It doesn't matter.
No, but I'm talking about specifically in the slant, where you have the most flexibility to get open. What do you think Brandon Ayuk would do if he was put in the slant?
Well, why don't they put him in there? Why won't they put him in there?
Because we have a whole bunch of weapons, Rod.
There you go. There's my point.
But yet he still has 1,300 yards, Rod.
Right. No, he does. But he has 1,300 yards doing what he does very well. But what he does, he's getting those opportunities.
He has 8 touchdowns.
He's eating because everybody else is focusing on other guys. So he's eating from that opportunity. They're not gonna put him in a slot. Not when you still got, you got Kittles in the middle in there. You got Debo running underneath. You still got a lot of stuff. You got CMC coming out the backfield. So I'm saying, why use Ayuk in that sense when you could just use Ayuk to run 30 yards down the field and run a post route? You know what I'm saying?
So too, James. I hope so too.
What we mean the playoffs? Really nah, I mean, let's look. Hold on. Let's look at Ayuk this year. Let me look at. Let's let me see. What did he do in the postseason? What did he do in the postseason? I can't find out here what he did in the postseason. I'm trying to look at his postseason because he didn't hurt Dallas. He hurt Dallas a little bit in his last game. He did. It was more so Kittles. Kittles really hurt us. He didn't do nothing against Dallas though. So I mean, but because look, Ayuk is a good player. I'm not knocking. And am I even saying that he can't be a number one if he went to another team? Maybe if he goes to. I'll tell you where he could be a number one. If he went to Houston, I think he's a number one over Noah Brown. Definitely, I think he's the number one over Noah Brown.
They have
Ayuk will be a number one.
They have a number one already.
Who's their number one?
Tank Dell is their number one. They already
Tank
have a
Dell.
number
Okay. So
he's
Tank Dell better than
cheaper.
Than,
it's about pay. He's a rookie. Tank Dell is super cheap.
He is cheap. But no, you're right. I agree with that to a degree. And I'm not saying contracts don't play a role. I know we got a few seconds left. Let me say this to you, though, D. Are they going to pay Ayuk his money this year?
Ayuk stands to get a big payday. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think they'll pay him.
He's going to get a significant.
You think he's going to get number one money? You think he's going to get number one money?
What's number one? 15 million and over?
He's got to get it. For number one, you got to at least get 20 million a year. At least 20, somewhere between 20 and 22, anywhere between 18 to 22. You got to get at least 20. Cooper was getting 20 a mil. He was getting 20 million a year. And that's the contract he's still playing with Cleveland right now on. All right. Let me see. Highest paid. I don't know. Let me see. Highest paid.
It's probably Devontae Adams is probably the highest paid receiver. Oh no, it might be
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. So you got.
He's not going to get that much.
No, he's not. He's not. And then you got Adams. Adams is getting 28 million a year, right? He's not going to get that, right? So you got, and then Cooper Kupp is at 26. AJ Brown's at 25. Metcalf is at 24. Stephon is at 24. Debo's at 23.
And the difference in, the Diggs and the AJ Brown, those were quarterback savers, right? The team needed an impact wide receiver.
Right.
Now I hope that Brandon Ayuk stays with the Niners. But what happens is once you have a Super Bowl under your belt, in the case of like Tyreek, you can ask for whatever you want, and teams will be willing to pay. But he will make 20 million. He will make 20 million a year. I agree with James.
You think Ayuk is going to get 20 million a year, D?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't think so. They're not going to pay him 20 million. I guarantee they're going to offer him about 15 million. He might get about 15 million a season. I think they'll offer him that much. About 15, because McLaurin is, let me see, so Debo's at 23, Metcalf 24, AJ Brown 25.
So you don't think let me ask you a question. I know maybe the Niners are going to try to keep this team intact, right? To try to foster
I would think they would,
right?
I think they would.
And do whatever it takes to do that, right?
I would think so.
But you don't think that Brandon Ayuk has shown enough for hopefully the Niners, but any team to pay him upwards of 20 million? You're bugging, Rod. Rod, you're bugging. You're bugging.
So, all right, let me ask you this. So you think he's the guy's making, Keenan Allen's making 20 million a year. Is he Keenan Allen? Because you got to remember, I don't know your quarterback. I don't know your status.
Keenan Allen is injury prone, and he's a little longer in the tooth.
He's a little longer in the tooth. That's true.
Yes.
DJ Moore is making 20 million with the Bears.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
McLaurin, you think Ayuk is as good as McLaurin?
Just as
you
good.
Think he's a franchise receiver? You think Ayuk is a franchise? Because he's a franchise guy, regardless of Keenan Allen being long in the tooth. But he's a franchise wide receiver for year in, year out. He produces.
It's a numbers game. His numbers.
What do you mean?
It's based on numbers. His numbers, his production calls for it, right?
Right.
Free agency. When free agency happens, and we see it more in the NBA, right? You're like, oh, this guy's a bum. He shouldn't make 25, 30 million. But timing, availability,
the market,
all of that matters.
No, you're right.
Yes,
I agree with that.
Will Brandon Ayuk make 20 million next year? I believe he will.
And I don't know your contract statuses with Fred Warner and other guys. I know y'all just signed Bosa, obviously. I don't know who else there is.
So how much is?
I don't know.
We got 45 seconds. How much is CeeDee Lamb? How much do you think CeeDee Lamb should make? Should he be the highest paid receiver? Should he make more money than Tyreek?
No.
So how much should he?
I don't think. I think
You said
Tyreek is
Brandon
going to
Ayuk
come
15
where.
million. How much should he?
I think he'll come in right around with Cup, between Cup and Devontae, 26 and 28 million easily. Because CD's been an All-Pro twice already, and he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. I mean, he's rocked since he's got there, and he took over the number 1 spot when Cooper left, and he proved that. You know what I'm saying? And he's consistent. He's that dude. D. CD is an electrifying player that changes the trajectory of a team's success. Just that one player. That's another thing a number 1 will do. Number 1 will change the whole dynamic of an offense. You got to be able to do that too. Ayuk is a specialty. He's a good player, but he's not. CMC changes the dynamics of your offense. When y'all got him, when y'all was below 500, when y'all traded for him, and he by himself turned your whole season. Y'all are not even in that NFC Championship game without CMC, regardless of what Purdy did, because y'all still would have been able to probably get that far, even with Garoppolo. But at the end of the day, that's what number 1s do. That's not Ayuk. Ayuk is not changing the game of an offense like that. Not the way Adams and Kupp and Tyreek would do. I mean, even AJ Brown.
So let me ask you a question.
But, I'm not
this super impressive showing of CeeDee Lamb when Cooper was still there, right? He wasn't the number 1 when Cooper was there, right? He was the number 2. And he was able to shine, right?
Yeah, 935 yards his rookie season.
And so what was the difference between there is a big difference, just like there's a big difference being the number 2 seed and the number 5 seed. Yeah. There's a big difference when you are called on and you get the opportunities of a number 1 seed. It all goes down to this one simple thing that you refuse to answer.
Which is?
If CeeDee Lamb, who has 170 plus catches, right? No, targets.
Targets, 168, right.
168. He has 168 targets, and he only has 300 more yards than Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk has 67 less targets.
Right.
And has only 5 touchdowns. And if we're talking about receiving touchdowns, CeeDee Lamb has 3 more receiving touchdowns. He has 2 in the run game. They pitched him, something, and he ran it in. So 5 total touchdowns more,
right,
with 67 more targets. I don't understand why that doesn't make sense to you, but hopefully people.
No, it does make sense, but it doesn't make sense.
And it'll make sense.
The number. I see you're arguing with the numbers, D, but you're not factoring in the why. That's the part that you're missing, and that's when his numbers, Ayuk's numbers, get nullified. I get what you're saying, that he's done almost as much as CD with less. I get it, but number 2s or number 3s will in most cases will do that. It's like Shaq shooting 65-70% from the field. Why? Because he was near the basket dunking all the time.
But do you think so let me ask you this.
As opposed to a jump shooter.
Do you think that you have as balanced of an attack that the 49ers have?
No, we do not. We do not.
Okay, so do you think you guys are almost totally dependent on the pass, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think that makes a difference? That we have the best running back in the game?
Yeah.
Do you think that impacts everyone's numbers?
Yeah. But that's the point I'm trying to make. Can Ayuk be what CD is to Dallas? Can he ever be that to the 49ers or any other team where he becomes the sole dependent just about, for all intents and purposes,
time will tell,
for that offense to thrive? Do you think that Ayuk can carry that kind of weight on his shoulders? I don't think so, D.
Do I think he can? Do I think he has the ability, if given the opportunity? I'll say this. If Brandon Ayuk had 168 targets, he would have more than 12 total touchdowns and 1,600 yards. That I can guarantee.
Oh, absolutely. Because of the routes he runs. Because he's not running short routes. They use him.
So what does it matter? So now it's because he does 5-yard routes. That's his problem? Why would you?
But that's what justifies the stats. Why he's almost accomplished as much as CD statistically with less targets. Because if you're averaging nearly 20 yards a catch, if I get 2 catches for 40 yards and somebody gets 5 catches, okay, for 55 yards, then somebody's going to say, well, if he would have got more catches, then what would you have done? Yeah, I got more yards, but I got more catches. But the routes were run. He ran shorter routes.
If you take all of Kittle's targets and targets away and gave it to Brandon Ayuk, what do you think his numbers would be?
Oh, well, Kittle's had 90 targets and Brandon has 101. So if you gave him what? So 191 targets?
No, all right. No, somebody with 60 targets. Somebody that we gave 60 targets to. Okay, you just give 60 targets away. Rod doesn't want stats to matter.
Well, why?
When it's simple math. He doesn't want it to matter.
But the math has to make sense in terms of why is the math like that? If you look at right now, if you pulled up in the NBA who has the best shooting percentage in the NBA, it's not going to be a guard, and it's not going to be a shooting forward or a shooting guard or a point guard. It's going to be a
about percentage.
Huh?
We're not talking about percentage.
No, but what I'm trying to get you to understand is that
I didn't mention his yards per catch. I'm not interested in that.
But that's
I'm
why
talking
he's
about
accomplished
total yards.
Right, but how does he get the total yards though, D? It's because he gets more yards per catch. That's why that stat is relevant, because he gains more yards per catch than other wide receivers do.
So you're saying he solely makes it off of bombs, right? He's
pretty much.
He doesn't have yards after the catch, is what you're saying.
Hey, after 18 yards per catch is actually, D, when you look at that number, because you got to pull up the numbers. What we have to research is how many yards after the catch. That's not 18 yards after the catch. That's 18 yards per catch. So the ball is going down the field 18 yards on average when Ayuk gets the ball in his hands. Not to mind you, the extra 25 yards he runs. Okay? That's 18 yards per catch. That's not yak yards. You know what I'm saying? So we got to find out what the yak is on Ayuk. And then that's a different kind of argument.
I don't think it'll matter to you. You'll still say you'll come up with a reason why he's still not a.
No, I just don't think he's a number one. I think he's a really good. So, do you think he's a number one receiver, D? Ayuk? That's all. That's the question. Can I ask you that question? Is Ayuk a number one receiver? Do you think he's on the level with all the number one receivers? Do you think he meets the criteria of a number one receiver?
I think so. Can he be a number one? Yes. Is he used as a number one in our offense?
No, he's not.
He's not used as a number one.
Why is that?
Because if you have a top five tight end,
right?
Number one running back, top 6, another top 5 or 6 receiver, all-purpose, everything in Debo. It's very tough for according to you, the fourth option. Yeah. Somehow he still has 1,300 yards.
No, I think that's impressive. And I see your point, and I agree with that. I think that is still very impressive. But I just don't think I don't know if Ayuk could be a guy.
But if you were talking straight receiving, is he a better receiver than Debo? He's not a better player than Debo.
No, he's
but
not.
Is he a better receiver? Yes.
Yeah, I would dare to say that. Yeah, I would dare to say that. Yeah, I would. Well, I don't know. It's just that I think we're sleeping on Debo's receiving skills. I just think Debo is a great, because he can do so many things well, doesn't mean that he's less than in one area than another guy. You know what I'm saying?
I think from a team standpoint, pay has something to do with usage. And the fact that teams, if you're getting paid that kind of money, they want to utilize you. They want to maximize and get return on their investment.
Right, I agree.
And Brandon Ayuk is still getting, he's not getting the big payday, but he stands to make.
No, he's gonna get bread.
And one thing that you had stated, if you look at his numbers each year, he's made improvements every year.
No, he did. No, he's improved. He's improved. No, he's definitely 65th. Well, the first year he only played 12 games, right? So he missed 5 games. So, but then for all intents and purposes, he played a full season last year, full season the year before. 21, he had 56 receptions. 22, he increased that to 78 receptions, and this year he's got 72. So, and he's probably not going to play. I guarantee. Now, let's see if he plays. Here's how you know. If everybody else is in street clothes like Anthony Davis and he's still playing, then he ain't a number one. ID. That's going to be the sign right there to let you know that they don't think enough of him to rest him. They're going to let him go out there and play. Maybe to try to get 80 catches.
So CeeDee Lamb's going to rest this week.
No, we can't, unfortunately.
Why can't
we don't have it as good as you? No, we don't have it as good as
Whoa.
We don't have, as you say, as you heard Jim Harbaugh say last night, right? Who's got it better than us? Nobody, right? I guess he's still a 49 at heart, right? I guess so, right? Is that what
I was so happy to see him win, man.
Me too. I was happy. I like Michigan anyway. Yeah, I'm tired of them. I like Michigan anyway. I'm a Fab Five.
And Washington, that was a real good game. I mean,
that was a good game.
That final is going to be something.
That's going to be good. That's going to be really, really good. I'm rooting for Michigan because I like Michigan. But Washington is, that team is good, man. That's a good team.
Penix is a really nice quarterback, man.
Nice quarterback.
Really good.
Nice quarterback.
Silky smooth,
I like
man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
there's something about a left-handed quarterback. Me being left-handed, although I throw with my right hand. You're
ambidextrous. You're a Debo. See, you're a Debo. Now, is your right hand? Don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Who's better than who? Who's better than who, right?
You know, a funny story, and we're
What's
really
up?
going to end.
Okay.
Everybody in my family is right-handed, right? So my mom, baby boomer, said, I'm going to try to make him right-handed. So it was trying to put stuff in your right hand as a kid. And, you know, because the world is set for right-handed people. Scissors and this and that.
Yep.
Although most presidents have been left-handed historically.
Oh, okay.
So they're great leaders.
Right. All right. No.
Well, not great leaders. They're put in leadership roles. Not that they're all great leaders.
Right.
But my mom was trying to make me right-handed, and as a result, I am ambidextrous. So
you are.
Thanks, Mom.
You are.
I appreciate it.
No, see, she.
But I defaulted to my left hand.
Yeah, and James, you know, D got a good and D could ball, but B-ball. He could B-ball, left hand, right hand. He could beat you either way. You know what I'm saying? So D was cool. All right, James, I know we pulled it out too, man. No doubt, man. Appreciate you hanging with us, man. You hung with us to the end.
Yes.
So,
listen, shout outs to Kingdom Creative for the production.
Yes, KC in the building.
Shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music.
Infinite Audio. Let's go.
Thanks for joining us. Sorry that we went on a tangent about the whole Brandon Ayuk being a number one receiver.
This is all the arguments in the chat, y'all. Y'all got the chat.
We go at it.
we go at it.
And who's number one and, you know, whatever. But thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Until next time, we're going to discuss this final week and what's going to happen. And once the playoffs are set and locked in, we got a lot to talk about. But until next time, peace.